So today, Zach hits me with we talk about like boundaries and barriers, and he was the coach I was talking to when I told you about Aaron Rodgers and ayahuasca, and he just knows a lot about a lot. Like he's got a ton of depth. He doesn't strike as like a sports guy, but he's a really good coach. And he's great with kids, right? So that's why I really love him. So today, he says, "Good morning. I want to let you know first thing this morning that the most recent poll came out. As of today, you are my favorite black person. Congratulations."
What an honor.
Who says that? I love him. That's my guy, man.
That's what we're on today?
Yeah, that's what we're on today. Coach Maloney.
So Coach Rice didn't make the cut there this morning?
I'm calling Coach Rice now. He's out. Oh, he's great, man. He is fantastic. Funny. Yeah, but it's just, again, don't ever undersell getting along as a staff. It totally matters.
I mean, it's a little. I don't know if that's better or worse than me counting how many black friends I have on the air.
Yeah. You guys are pretty strange. Pretty strange.
I hung out with two of them in the same weekend.
Hey, did you use a demonstrative?
What do you mean?
To describe a group of people?
No.
Who? Two of them?
Two of my black friends. I hung out with Cliff on Friday. You know what we did, ironically enough?
What? So do I know Cliff?
I don't know.
I don't know any black people named Cliff.
Then probably not.
Cliff.
High school, ironically enough.
Cliff went to Miller North?
High school, ironically enough.
Cliff went to Miller North?
Yeah.
Oh, shout out Cliff.
It was me, Cliff, and Jermaine.
Yeah.
Out here. Talking about island.
Now, did you really lump yourself in with Cliff and Jermaine?
Listen, at Miller North, we had to.
There was this early 2000s, right?
Yeah, there were not a lot of.
When did you guys leave together?
So Cliff was 04, me and Jermaine were 05.
Graduated.
Yeah.
So one day, at some point, we're gonna get Jake Galusha on the show.
Oh yeah.
You know my affinity for Galusha. Right?
Yeah, he was a monster.
Goat.
Yeah,
love him.
He was a monster.
Like Superman crush.
Yeah.
I don't even get like that over guys significantly younger than me.
Yeah.
But that's when I first started getting into all my Cox football broadcasts.
Oh, yeah. So
he was an absolute menace. So I've talked about Jake's for 21 years.
Yeah. No, he was incredible.
For 21 years.
So him and Cliff graduated together in 04.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jermaine was 05 with me. But yeah, me and Cliff went and played some tennis. That's why I said
right on brand.
That's why I said it was ironic.
Is Cliff like TFO?
No, he's a good athlete though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that like the norm?
Well,
never mind.
I didn't want to make assumptions. I don't want to make assumptions, you know.
Shane, it's only Wednesday.
That's what we're on today?
Well,
no, Cliff's a good dude though.
Apparently, your jokes are better than Coach Satterfield's.
And then me and Jermaine hung out on Saturday after the Creighton game.
Yeah, what'd you guys do?
We were just at a bar.
Yeah?
Yeah, just having a couple drinks.
Did you eat?
No, they don't have food at this bar.
Oh, it was one of those swank bars, huh?
No, it was the other way. Super dive bar.
Super divey?
Yeah.
They keep it so do you get like so what do those super divey bars have that don't serve food? Do they have the ones where you like finger the peanuts and pretzels?
Some of them do. This one just keeps like chips in the corner. They just have like bags of chips that you buy like Costco.
No way.
I swear.
That kind of sounds like my kind of spot though.
It's yeah.
Is it dimly lit?
Oh yeah, super dimly lit.
Was Jermaine okay?
Yeah. Yeah. We were again,
he could just flash it. Well, wait, is he there yet? Yeah, he's all the way there yet.
Yeah, he's fully qualified.
Yeah. Does he carry?
I don't think when he's not he can't when he's drinking, so he doesn't.
Okay.
And I don't think when he's civilian mode he doesn't.
Yeah, I'd like to pick his brain.
Jermaine's a good dude.
Yeah, transition late.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Transition late, and I can always appreciate that. We're going to talk to a coach on Friday, Coach Mackey.
Yeah.
One of the things I think that's interesting to talk to him about is he transitioned late too.
Yeah. Out at Central there.
Yeah, for high school coaching. Now he's always been in the community and kids, but
which is kind of like Jermaine too. He's been involved with coaching kids for a long time.
Yeah, and he just a job change.
Yeah, he's still coaching though.
So was he in education?
Yeah, he was a para, I think, at Miller North for a long time.
Okay.
And was coaching the whole time.
I think they're called, depends on the district. I
Yeah, I
think they're
don't know.
called EAs now.
Yeah, I don't know what they were called paras when I was a kid. Teachers, assistants, I don't know, something.
Yeah, I think EA doesn't stand for sports like electronic arts. I think it's like
sports.
I think it's like educational assistance.
Probably. I don't know. He was in the building though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice.
Yeah. He's...
hitting quota for the month.
No, me and Jermaine see each other a lot.
It's still only 2, me and him. You gotta get over the threshold.
Cliff.
Yeah, but you hadn't been hanging out with Cliff.
I hang out with Cliff.
Do you?
Yeah, we go get cigars.
Oh, Cliff's a cigar smoker.
Me, Cliff, and Abe. You know Abe, I think.
Abe?
Yeah. He worked at Creighton for a while.
Abe.
In ticketing. I don't know. You might not know Abe.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's a good guy.
Is he? Would I have given him a nickname? Like Honest Abe?
Probably. Everybody calls him Abe.
Like John Wilkes Booth?
Every once in a while I call him Brad, which is...
Not his name?
No, it is, but it throws people off.
So is it Bradley Abraham or Abraham Bradley?
It's Brad Abramson.
His middle name is Abram. Oh, so wait a minute. Last name is Abramson?
Yeah.
Oh, so not his middle. So you just shorten it to Abe?
Yeah, everybody does.
Do they just call you Lou?
Actually, my players just call me Coach Lou, yeah.
Yeah. It's not as funny if it actually happened.
Sorry, didn't mean to ruin it for you.
So the first 6 minutes of this show is about delivering jokes.
And apparently...
There's a theme.
Apparently, people think Coach Satterfield can't do that.
So I'm kind of mad about that. I told you this morning.
The fact that he made the joke or that people reacted the way they did.
So full disclosure, I told you when I woke up.
Yeah.
Every morning a man wakes up with decisions to make.
No, you're exactly right.
Did you make the decision to choose violence this morning?
Did not choose violence.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, I blame it on Zoe.
She made you soft?
Yes. She yes, actually. She made me I'm not a Listerine guy.
Yeah.
I think Listerine, unless you want to sponsor me, I will Listerine my brains out, but not a Listerine guy.
What are the other options for
Scope, my man?
Scope, okay.
Scope, and there's
I know there's like different kind of.
There's the one that I couldn't figure out that it was actually a pump. You just squeeze the bottle and the lid fills up.
You told me about that.
So I never went back to that. I should. It was fantastic. It was just a lot of work.
You just felt dumb because of the cap situation?
Oh, yeah, real dumb.
Yeah.
Real dumb.
My wife uses an off-brand, like an organic.
Does it work?
I don't know. I mean, her breath doesn't smell.
Well,
I don't know if it would.
It's a bonus.
So here's the thing: is I don't know if her breath would smell without it. Yeah. She's very good about oral hygiene.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah.
But so I don't know. Like, I didn't do a controlled study. Like, hey, we're gonna do a.
See, you always have to get fancy pants. So anyway,
just scientific method. It's been around a while.
This list. Here we go. This Listerine has a pink hue to it.
Because it's for like kids, right?
I don't think so. No. It's like
it's just
fancy.
Pink Listerine.
And so I get her toothbrush and mouthwash ready every morning because we are currently raising a child that as a 6-year-old takes a bath every morning. Every morning. She's not ever going to be like the stinky kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's just telling me that I need to use this mouthwash. Again, I'm not anti-Listerine. I'm just not pro. And it's pink. Has a pink tint to it.
Does it like change the flavor?
I don't know enough about Listerine.
Okay.
Tastes like normal Listerine to me. So it's very off-putting. But for her, I will, right? I feel like when I opened the garage and I was pulling out, it made me kind of soft.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think it was because it was Listerine or because it was pink?
Because it was Listerine.
Okay.
I'm cool with pink. I got some nice salmon dress shirts. I'm cool with pink.
I do too. I like a nice salmon dress shirt.
So when I was driving in, I was like, man, a man's got two choices.
Mm-hmm.
He can choose violence or not.
What did you choose this morning?
I'm gonna not. You're choosing violence.
It's just more fun.
Yeah, I was really mad at social media yesterday, but I let it ride.
So Shane, do you have that clip about?
Wait, already?
I just want to.
Already?
I want to give context. You went here. I was talking about.
No, I was
talking about my black friends.
Hey, remember the guy that used the word that you wanted to use on the radio yesterday?
T-Mac?
Yeah.
I didn't want to use it.
Yes, you did.
I just didn't know. I just didn't know if I could.
No, you said I want to use it. I want to say that so bad. I feel like I've heard that in the comedic sketch. So I asked T-Mac. I said, "Hey,
I didn't want to use it on air.
should we green light him?"
I didn't want to use it on air.
I think it would be okay.
I think so too, but I'm not going to go there.
Well, I asked my non-minority friends, and they said go for it. I don't know if they want you to get in trouble,
I was
though.
like, you cannot trust white people on stuff like that.
So anyway, T-Mac, is this your friend's last name?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's my guy.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, Cliff's a good dude. Shane, do you have that clip?
Apparently, the few black people in Omaha know each other.
I'm not sure what clip you're calling for.
The one where he talks about...
Are we really going here early? There was so much sustenance yesterday. And I feel like you're choosing violence.
It's a long show.
I'm not choosing violence. I'm just telling you.
Yeah. I'm trying to see
I might. It depends on how my mood goes.
I'm trying to see if I can get you to choose violence.
All right. Well, how's the stream going? Well, see, Blake text.
We are live. We're live now on the stream.
How many people are in there? Are they being obtuse or are they cool?
They're okay so far.
Okay, so as long as they keep my mood fine, I'm fine.
Steve says whiskey works well for mouthwash too.
I don't drink anything brown.
I know, you just got to spit it out though. You're not drinking it.
No.
You're just gargling with it.
Mm-mm.
No?
No.
I don't know if tequila would work.
Not is it Reposado? It's got a brown hue to it. So Blake sent me a message this morning. Blake kind of talked me off the ledge.
Okay.
He didn't know he was, but he did. So I'm not
Were you
choosing
6
violence.
feet from the edge?
Is that a song?
Yeah, it's a Creed song.
And I'm 6 feet from the edge, and I'm thinking.
Nailed it.
Maybe 6 feet ain't so
That's right.
far down.
No, you're exactly right.
See?
All right, Shane. So what do we? Are you going to preface? Are you going to the? You're going to the actual press conference. So you're going to play the clip that I think you're going to play.
I would like to. Yeah.
I'm going to punch you in the face.
Why?
Go ahead, Shane.
I'm not sure what clip it is.
Please appease my little buckethead friend over here. It is. Shane, do you know how you do that thing? Oh, they went to college together.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Was he at Dana?
Listen, man, why are you trying to put my guy on blast?
I'm just asking. Like, it was, it's a decent sized school.
So you know that thing that he sends in the group text where he has all the clips cut?
yeah, I'm looking.
Take a gander. Do you want
4.
my glasses?
I think
Shane, it's clip 4.
I think it's 4. Satterfield.
Continuing to be able to run the ball with just
Nope, that
common
wasn't it.
runs, traditional runs.
Number 3. Let's try 3.
When they think you can't run, they don't have to have a spy. That they can play man coverage and read his eyes and get underneath certain routes. So for him to be able to pull it down and run like you did, I think at least they have to account for him. It shows they have to account for him now.
Okay, we may not have it. Basically, someone asked, "Hey, did you know that, or did you expect him to be able to do that on that 38-yard run?" He goes, "I didn't even know he could move like that."
Yeah, he was joking.
Yeah, I thought pretty clearly, pretty obvious. He's a dry guy.
100%.
Which I get that not everyone knows him the way you do, so they may not have the context for that.
Yeah, he's super dry.
But the reaction to that comment on Twitter, I just couldn't even believe. And it was from some people that I don't totally dislike.
So do you know what I think it is?
Which makes it super disappointing.
So the key to good jokes is always what?
Delivery.
And
timing.
You might be my partner in a game show once.
I like comedy.
It's delivery and timing.
Yeah.
When your offense ranks in the 120s in some statistical categories,
timing is not great.
The timing is not great.
Yeah. And when you're that dry, the delivery is often not great either.
And his delivery, this is on the heels of, well, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What's a good national average?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Right? See, I can appreciate that because, again, I know how he talks.
Also,
I know how it is in conversation. I told you about the Bud Crawford thing, right?
Which one?
I don't know if I want to tell it, but he wasn't quite in tune with all Crawford's accomplishments.
Oh, Satterfield wasn't?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. You're not a huge boxing guy.
Like basically Eddie.
Yeah.
And he's not from here, right?
Yeah, if you're not from here and so you have the connection that way, or if you're not a huge boxing guy.
So that let me know that there's only a couple things he pays attention to.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that I hear from then on is in context to my previous knowledge of what he enjoys and what he spends his time doing.
Here's where I have the issue, right?
Do you really have an issue, or is this more fake outrage? There's a lot of fake outrage.
No, I'm super annoyed. I'm I don't know if outrage. I'm annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Because we do this thing And I do it too, so I'm not absolving myself.
Yeah.
But we do this thing.
We got fake fan outrage with Mookie Betts. Is this real outrage?
I probably do it with Dion some, where because I don't like him, I filter everything through that lens.
Through rage?
Through the lens of I think he's a D-bag. Like I don't.
Yep, another D Blandino reference.
Yeah.
We're trending this week.
So if I so I do it too. I'm not. I mean, that's how I feel about Dion. That's not.
Yeah, this show's gonna be off the chain.
It'll be fun.
I'm just telling you.
So I filter everything through the fact of I don't think he's a good guy. I don't like the way he operates. So he could do some stuff that doesn't really fall in that category, and I'm going to have a hard time receiving it the right way.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's what's happening with Satterfield here. We've lost any sort of objectivity with Satterfield in the sense that we've decided we don't like him. We as like the royal you, the fan base, right? Not us on this particular program.
Forever be royal.
That's a different thing. Song's actually about George Brett.
Is it?
It was inspired by George Brett.
Fantasy.
Yeah, she was watching the Royals. She was watching the Royals.
Shane, would she be classified as a one-hit wonder?
Who's that, Lord?
Yeah.
She has a couple, but it's not a ton.
Didn't she kind of
She just faded. Yeah.
Like to black?
Different thing.
Like
no, she saw the video of the George Brett Pine Tar incident, and it inspired her to write that song.
Now, how do you know that?
Because she's told that story.
Oh, well, sorry, man. I'm not a. What's her name again? Lords. I'm not a Lord. I'm not. Wait.
Lord.
Not plural.
No, just Lord.
There's an E?
There is an E though.
So it's not capitalized.
Right.
Although it is her proper name.
Yeah, but I think she still doesn't
capitalize. It's not like using
it
in vain.
Right.
Different.
Yeah. Also, Lord is more of like a title than a name, but it's fine. It's
like Lord Wellington.
Yeah.
I love it.
Or like Lord Vader if you're a Star Wars guy.
Wow. Okay.
That's good.
Yeah. Great.
Not even
great. Way to incorporate you into this conversation.
That's not even.
I mean, really.
I was trying to help Shane.
You, Shane, and Marty, and Kugler, and Bishop,
and like half the free world. I mean,
Severe. Yeah.
Like the movies don't make $1 billion every time they come out because nobody likes them.
I need you to focus.
You need me to focus.
I need you to focus.
So we do this thing with Coach Satterfield, where because we decided we don't like him, that we automatically filter everything through that lens, like the 4 to 6 yards per play thing, right?
Sure.
If you're paying any sort of attention to context and everything else, you could probably be like, that's probably not what he meant. It's okay. He probably is not saying, I would like to be 129th in the country in yards per play when he says 4 to 6 yards per play. Yeah. That's common sense, right? You could also probably tell, because he kind of laughs while he says it, that when he says, I didn't know Dylan could run like that, he may not be entirely serious.
Wow.
We could use some context clues and some common sense to not freak out about the fact he's like, how do you not know your quarterback can run?
Read Tony's tweet. Tony surmised it a lot better than I could, and I could come across as the great defender. So let's just go to what my guy TG says.
He says, I don't want to defend the trolls, but most of what I saw was in response to tweets of the quotes in text form, but it's not an excuse to not listen. Also, the next part where he talks about switching arms while carrying the ball and stiff arm makes it clear. Yeah, I agree.
Right? Like, practically speaking, what TG said makes sense.
It is, but it also is not an excuse to, like, if I see something in writing, like a quote, that I go, I don't love that. My first move,
let me hear it,
is to go listen to it to say,
you've been well trained.
What's the context of this? What was the question that was asked?
People do it all the time, and then you have to go back and say, oh, hey, here's the answer in its entirety.
Yeah. Here's the rest of the answer. Here's what he said after that answer. Here's the question that led to that answer. Like, all of that stuff matters. What do I talk about all the time? Contextually. Right? It matters.
So benching Tony Richardson contextually matters, that it doesn't have much to do with the fact he needed a breather?
Yeah, no, it's because he's not a very good quarterback.
Because he's completing less than 50%
like
of his
44,
passes.
I think.
In 5 straight games.
Which is bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
I'm just curious.
He does not look like a functional quarterback in any way whatsoever.
Would he have a lot more wiggle room if he was good?
100%.
Yeah. Blake, do you know what Blake sent me this morning?
What's that?
It is early. Blake may not go to bed. It's 2 hours ago.
Oh, so he's like you.
No, but we're clearly in different time zones.
Okay.
Blake said he's just realizing that Dylan didn't throw one touchdown pass in October. He said, that's not really a sad issue, but that's still no bueno.
Yeah, it's not great.
I think back to preseason when you and Ravi were discussing final stat lines for Dylan and what it would look like if we wanted the team to have some success. I think you guys landed somewhere between 2,600 yards, 18 TDs, and I can't remember the INT number. Maybe it was 2-1 or a 3-1 ratio.
I was at under 10
I was
18.
I was 18 and 9. It was 2-1.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I'd be tickled. Right? You and AR were asking me all these questions. This was like early before he was even here. We're going back. And then there was me and you previously. Okay. He says Dylan yards are on pace, but the 9-7 TD ratio isn't great. If we want to entertain the idea of 8-4 or 9-3, we're going to need 7+ TDs and no more than a couple of INTs at that pace. But if it's doable, Nebraska could be looking at a 3-1 finish. But that is where the numbers have to be.
Yeah,
Is that independent of Coach Satterfield?
I don't know if it's independent, but there are some where he just has to execute.
Should we talk mutual exclusivities?
Ooh, I like mutually exclusive things. We'll talk about that. We'll also let you know who's coming up on the show next here on Hurrdat Sports Radio. Welcome back to Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, here on the Pillar Exterior Stage. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We've got Brian Christopherson coming up at 8 o'clock from Husker 24/7. Kevin Sjuts at 8:30 from 1011 News in Lincoln. We'll talk a little baseball with Jesse Rogers from ESPN at 9. We'll wrap up the show with Matt Stevens, color commentator for UCLA Football, at 9:45.
Shane, that's a great get, too, by the way.
Matt Stevens?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't need to hear from Shane because clearly he can't.
I can't read.
Or hear, for that matter. But
Well, I got a question for you.
yes.
What do you think of him as a runner?
I didn't know he could run like that.
So nobody did.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of making light, but kind of not. But nobody did.
Nobody expected him to take off for a 40-yarder on Saturday.
Listen, I've seen more than anybody that's ever going to talk over these airwaves, and I've never seen him do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
never.
It's kind of funny that we've been talking about, hey, he needs to take off a little bit, and then on Saturday he does it like 4 times.
Yeah.
It's very effective.
I had a fantastic conversation, unsolicited even, with his dad yesterday.
Yeah?
Yeah, he texted me about.
How's Dom doing?
Dom is intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like it kind of runs in the family.
Dom is in the solutions business. Big Dom fan though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was walking up. Remember I told you that I took the long way around? Shane, that's one of those songs you used to like. I took the long way home. It's like a 70s or 80s.
Tramp.
Can you say that on air?
No,
That's the group.
It's not necessary to call people names, Shane.
Did he call me a tramp?
Yeah. That's not just a regular one, a super one.
Yeah, that one. So anyway, I took the long way.
What do you think of him as a runner?
Shut up, Sip.
Lady in the?
Knock it off.
Oh, sorry.
I took the long way around.
Yeah.
To go back to the booth after we were doing the shoot with Jessica. So I told you I ran into Dom, his daughter, and his wife. And so we were shooting the breeze, and I, of course, commented on his daughter's shoe game because it was spectacular. The red and white was just popping. She had like this old school Letterman's coat. But anyway, we were talking, and a fan came over. So we're probably 5 or 6 minutes into a conversation. It's just two grown men. We're kind of it's close proximity because he wasn't trying to be loud. I mean, it's right. And a fan comes over and he goes, hey, I got just one thing to ask you. And Dom goes, what's up?
What do you think of him as a runner?
It's not what he said. God bless it, Shane. He goes, hey, how do you really say your last name? So I was straddling kind of the stairs. I had one foot on a higher stair, one foot. I almost fell down the stairs. It was only about 3 stairs. Just the timing of it. It's 10:20. It's like we're getting ready to, and it's 10:20 that time.
Yeah.
So we still have like an hour 40 to go.
Yeah.
And Dom goes, it's Raiola. Like he just said it like super cut and dried. He goes, man, for all these years, in Detroit, and the dude was clearly familiar with his career. So they kept saying Raiola, and Tom goes, yeah, well, they also had me 6'1" in the program too, and that lasted for 12 plus years. So I don't know what to tell you. Today's gonna be a fantastic day. Oh man, I was in tears.
That's funny.
But anyway, yeah, we were just whatever. We just talking about some things, and he's very intense. But I'd never seen young Dylan run like that.
No.
But I did break that down on why that happens.
Yeah.
Because I thought of you.
Because
I even
DB
prefaced it
hates
by
the
saying,
man-to-man.
I know you guys think I don't like man-to-man coverage.
He hates the man-to-man coverage.
But see, Ohio State had to make a couple of adjustments because in a 3-by-1 and they played single high, they were compromised in some spots. So sometimes they tried to show some 2-high and they played what we would call 2-man. I said in 2-man, you don't have anybody to pull up the quarterback.
Yeah.
But it's tremendous in coverage. Bellevue West let us live in 2-man a couple years ago because they wouldn't run the ball. Nobody was going to be open.
Yeah.
It's just hard.
Yeah.
If your Q won't pull it down and run because there literally is nobody.
Because he evens out the numbers, right?
Yeah, and so
it's kind of the same thing we're talking about last week with run fits. If you don't have QB run,
which I actually think is a big deal. I didn't want to get into it because you probably do need a chalk session, but my man DJ and I are working on a plan to bring together like film study sessions. But I didn't want to get into it over the air because it's always not great radio. But I do think there is something to, well, I know there is because it's a thing. But changing over from Coop to Butler, meshing with Knighton and White in terms of coverage and fitting in the run game. Like it's a thing. And so when they're going back and forth between those condensed sets and all of a sudden Jeremiah Smith sneaks behind a secondary when you got a low hole guy that has to hold the run game. Like those cat and mouse things, they'll work those out.
Yeah.
And they changed multiple times across the game depending on down and distance, which is why I told you I like the whole cat and mouse thing. But to go back to the 2-man and scrambling, until Nebraska shows that they're willing to do some other things on the ground, they're going to see certain kinds of defenses. That's just going to be the way it is. And so I don't know if the challenge for SAT is to figure out more ways to get to the same thing or to ask folks to do things that they aren't comfortable doing.
Yeah.
But I did tell you, the number one thing that I went and watched in pregame before the guys even – so they're not even in pads yet. These are just guys in, like, Jim's tracksuits and stuff. Was what? What I tell you? I went to go watch Dylan.
You want to see how he felt, see how he looked?
Yep.
See,
just him and about 9 other guys.
Aggravated the ankle.
Just
against
how
Indiana.
He was moving, what his warrant. I'm like, the guy looks good.
Look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do wonder if that leads to a little bit more of not designed quarterback run, because I don't think it's going to be that.
You only need it
a couple times a game.
Yep.
And
3 or less.
I do wonder, though, if maybe they try and get Dylan out on the perimeter a little bit more.
He's got a pretty good slide game. You saw that, right?
Yeah, and then just give him some options, right? Because I do think that not only then you've got either they leave a guy for Dylan, and that means you have one less defender in coverage, or they don't leave a guy for Dylan. It's like, hey, free 6 yards, right? You'll take. I know people didn't love the 4 to 6 yards per play, but you'll take 6 yards every time.
Hey. I don't need your snarkiness this morning. And what are you laughing at?
Who's being snarky?
Well, Shane laughs.
What
so
I
clearly
do?
It was something sarcastic.
What I do? I'm just saying. If every time you rolled out, you could take 6 yards, you take it.
Oh, for sure.
You know why? You get 6 yards twice. That's first down.
Good mathematician.
It's actually a little extra. It's 12. You only need 10.
2 to go.
2 to spare.
Thank you.
So far, so good.
2 to the tip.
That's what I'm not great at math, but I can figure that out.
Yeah. Do you know how many times a week I hear 2 to the tip? It's a defensive philosophy for D-line when they don't feel pressure. Coach Samanji says 2 to the tip. I mean, a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's just a technique when you want to get to your gap.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good at coaching. But anyway, so I felt like, I don't know. It was an awkward 7 minutes yesterday.
Yeah.
But I don't care because this is what I want people to start to deal with. I said I joke about gamification and making making everything competitive, even if it's no matter how
silly or whatever. Yeah. Just meaningless.
Yeah, like just yesterday, for example, I like the blinds closed without bends, right? Just close the blinds correctly. That's all I'm asking.
It's a big ask.
So I do this thing with myself. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to let that ride. If they snap, if they bend, it's not on me. I'm not going to. Man, that took me about 15 seconds and I had to go exit.
So you lost that competition.
Lost that game with myself.
With yourself.
Nobody else is home, so like I have to. I'm like I walked by it once and I turned my head the other way and I walked back. I'm like, yep,
nope.
Gotta fix it.
Can't do it. Not today.
But the gamification is now you have to find a way to win as many games possible for the rest of the season. Let's see if we cannot complain in the meantime with an immediate solution and see if we can get better week to week.
Because there is no immediate solution.
And it's not too late.
Yeah.
Listen to what I'm saying. It's not too late
to continue getting better.
To get more efficient with what you want to do for the remainder of the season. Plenty of time. POT.
That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla. We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
What do you think of him as a runner?
Knock it off!
Wrapping up hour number 1 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, where you can join us on Friday for our live show, getting ready for Nebraska and UCLA. Got breakfast, got drinks, and you got a chance to win some tickets to the game and a parking pass, courtesy of our friends at Tickets for Less. Make sure you get to eventbrite.com, search for Hurrdat Sports Radio to reserve your spot. Join us on Friday. We'll have a good time. Hang out.
Can watch West Side, Westview.
Can watch us be kind of
South, Papio,
weird
South,
in person.
Central Papio.
What are you talking about?
On
Friday?
Yeah,
yeah, like after the show, not while we're here.
Well, I mean Friday. It's a whole day.
Rebecca Black.
Man, he threw me for a loop with that. Can you believe I didn't even Google that? I started to, but once he said I was singing about as well as her, I knew she wasn't good. Like that let me know, right? He like that kind of slid under the radar because he's sarcastic, but he goes, it's not much better or worse.
If you don't love it,
so I was like, oh, she's not very good.
I don't think she's considered like a prodigious talent.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't think she's considered like she's not the Trevor Lawrence of singing or anything.
Wow. I do admire your conviction. For as inflammatory as those statements were, I like the fact you stick to your 9mm. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
wow.
I got.
I do it.
No, listen, it's all right. It's all right.
Not all right. Kind of like, I don't know, like letting Gleyber Torres hit home runs.
I'll say, how you feeling after last night? You okay?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah.
I said Dodgers in 6, so I'm giving myself some wiggle room.
Got a little leeway there. It would be the first time ever that anybody going down in the World Series made it to a 6th game.
Yeah, after being down 3-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some ominous stats, but it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Got Flaherty going tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I probably trust Cole more, but I just don't need like the band of merry men to start feeling good about themselves.
Yeah, you probably want to put it down tonight.
I'll take as many as it takes within 7 to win. I don't. You ain't got to tell me twice.
I'm just saying, you don't want to let that thing get rolling at all.
That thing wet.
That thing wet.
Yankees will run out of pitching before the Dodgers.
That thing wet.
Which is ironic, but
don't you think?
A little too.
Yeah. So it was a decent night. I said my goodbyes in the Berg to Marc-Andre Fleury. Hopefully Sasha said her goodbyes as well.
Yeah.
The last time he was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Even though he got the win as a Minnesota Wild, which is fine.
You don't love that?
You seem very hurt right now. You're gonna.
No.
You're not
Minnesota going there.
You're not rooting for him?
Marc-Andre?
Yeah.
No.
You don't root for your guys when they leave?
I do like him though. He's one of those guys, even though he's gone. Like I do like.
Like
him.
I'm rooting for Klay Thompson.
Of course you are.
I love Clay.
Can we do something with the headband, or is that too much?
I don't love the headband, but
It's fine as long as he's splashing.
yeah, I think he was like 2 for 7 last night. It's not great.
Yeah, but Luka went ham, so they're good.
He didn't shoot it great. Kyrie had a better game than Luka did.
Yeah, Luka's kind of a volume guy.
Yeah, I don't like that about him.
It's fine. ISO ball. It's a regular season.
It upsets me.
You got about 77 more to put up with it. till
Yeah,
playoffs start.
and then it's not gonna work in there. Be fine.
Whatever.
You know how I feel about it. Not happy. Not happy about that.
About the same as I feel when I hear LeBron say, "There's only 450 of us. Nothing's
for you guys.
Nothing's
the day is not
given.
today.
It's all earned,
Except for my kid.
except for Bronny." I was like, "Wow, the irony of saying that. I couldn't believe it." But what do I know?
Yeah.
Shane, I appreciate you finding that clip for Coach Satterfield.
That's not an NBA player right there.
Oh, Sasha's with me.
It's not a G League player.
Bless her
With
heart.
Mark Andre?
Wouldn't that be something? She said, "I was so hoping he'd sign a one-day contract to retire a Penguin." She said, "I miss him." Wow. It's good,
Yeah.
to know, good to know she has feelings.
I feel that way when I'm watching your Dodgers. I'm just like, Mookie.
Do you have fake outrage too? They tried to take the ball from him.
I mean, I think that
It's fine.
I think the fan's a total jackass, but
Dude, have you not? How many, that's par for the course.
I don't know, like literally trying to open the glove is pretty aggressive.
Well, he wanted to go home early.
Like it's pretty
And
aggressive.
they obliged.
I actually liked less the guy that grabbed his off arm.
Yeah.
Because there's like you have the guy trying to get the ball out, which is like, okay, this guy's an idiot. But then you have Mookie reaches up to try and get him to stop grabbing at the ball, and then somebody grabs his wrist. And I actually liked that part the least.
How many Leinenkugels or Bud Lights or
I don't know what they're drinking in the Bronx.
Yeah, what how many
Well, did you see his face?
how many Modelo's in was he?
That dude was
119.
that dude was deep.
So this has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
I recorded early at Channel 7 on Sunday.
Mhm.
I was telling you about listening to the sermon and whatever in the car. So I stopped at a gas station on 13th Street. I will just leave it at 13th Street.
Mhm.
And so I just wanted to fill my Yeti with ice and grab something with bubbles. So I got 2 big bubblies because they have 18
The
ounce-
cans?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Big, like the bigger than 12-ounce cans.
Yeah.
And this gentleman came in this nice truck. It was kind of redone. It was old.
Mhm.
It reminded me that in the truck that Clint Eastwood drove in Gran Torino,
Okay.
except he was getting it wrapped. So I fumbled with the lid because I wanted crushed ice, not cubed.
Mhm.
So he kind of saw it, and that's fine. Like I scrambled, I put it back on, and then I was using one hand because I had 2 cans plus the lid, and then I had my Yeti in the other hand.
Mhm.
And I dropped it again, and it's now keep in mind it's like 9:40,
Yeah.
and he's clearly smoked.
Yeah.
And he's got a 6 of Modelo. And I dropped something for the second time in the morning. I'm dressed up, right? And he's like, and I think I'm effed up. It was the funniest thing I heard all day because clearly he was, but it was his delivery
Yeah.
that made me laugh. So
Well,
the
what do
whole,
we say? Timing and delivery.
yeah, the Modelo thing had me kind of
He couldn't even buy that at 9:40 on a Sunday.
Yeah, he could.
I thought it'd have to be at noon. Did they change that?
My man was walking to his truck happy as all get out. I think it's 6 a.m.
I thought it was noon on Sundays.
Nah, man. Nah. I'm not. The good thing I didn't say the gas station in case they broke the law.
Yeah, I'm not sure you're allowed to do
No,
that.
I think you can.
I'm gonna look that up because I think there's a rule about Sundays.
I think it's changed, my man.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember the last time I tried to buy alcohol before noon on a Sunday.
Yeah, and it was boxed too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't in like the deal.
Was it the 4-pack?
I didn't pay that close attention. I just know the box was blue.
I think I might have known what gas station you were at. I used to stomp around those parts a little bit.
Do you know where the studio,
Yeah. I have.
Then you probably do.
I have a good idea. I think.
It's recently been redone.
Has it?
Yeah, it's a different brand now.
Oh, I used to live down there.
Did you really?
Yeah, I lived on 10th Street for a few years.
Oh, was that cool?
A couple years.
My buddy lives on 10th Street.
It was all right until like a meth head moved in next door, and that
No methods. I'm moving next to this guy. He's
kind of ruined it.
pretty well to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, we lived in a nice place, but it was, I think it was actually the meth head was the boyfriend, and it wasn't great.
Yeah. Sounds like one of Shane's neighbors.
Not great. We were just like, all right, we're going to get out of here. Just skedaddle on up out of here.
Don't worry.
I live in a van down by the river.
Don't worry, Shane. They don't listen to the show.
They might. You never know.
Man, you thought I was effed up. Whew, all right. I think so for the timing and the delivery. Did you like the fact that you felt? Did young Dylan have his OC's back?
Yeah, I thought so.
Because this is clearly a theme now.
Yeah,
we heard
I thought he did.
Coach Rule kind of say, "Hey, let's get these guys off the sat and Foley's backs. We got to do our job." That's a guy that's clearly making a pitch to, "Hey, we got a season left to play. We're not gonna, So I think if you openly gave Coach Rule the mic, you know what I bet he'd say?
What?
Hey, instead of railing on us internally, why don't we band together against the Big Ten? I'm dead serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why don't we just hold hands for a second, insulate, get better down the stretch, and go against the Big Ten?
Fight the common enemy.
God, they suck sometimes.
Hey, they only missed the one call, though.
How are you only get one apology? How was there only one admission?
It wasn't even the only one on.
It wasn't the worst.
It wasn't even the only one on spotting the ball.
Sorry about that.
It was not the worst.
Which one do you think was the worst?
So
The first OPI? The first OPI on Nair was egregious.
I still think Nair's was a catch.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it moved once it hit the ground.
How do you miss spot? So do you know why I think this one's worse?
Why?
It's because I think it directly
The one on the goal line?
Nebraska from getting 6.
The one on the goal line?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lloyd was closer than that.
Yeah.
It's a terrible spot.
100% closer than that.
Terrible spot.
He was within
that was the one that I felt like was the most detrimental, even though it wasn't the most obvious.
Yes.
It was still obvious though.
The one on Emmett Johnson's was more obvious. They missed by more.
I wish Sharpie's such a class act. He didn't just to watch him shake his head.
Yeah.
Because he's like the king of spotting.
Yeah.
If there's one consistent over the 3 years of me being with him,
He's just really good at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And he can get it on the first time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm not even weird. I'm not paying attention, right? I don't even think about it. And he'll say, "Well, I thought so now he's got me trained.
Yeah. To be looking at it.
To look at it. And I didn't, that wasn't even the worst missed call. You started the game practically on the second series with letting a hold get away. I was it's going to be
It's going to be a fun one.
The ball that Barney got held out of the break. And I said, God, he held him out of the break.
Yep. Had the whole shoulder pad.
I don't know how you missed those. Those are game changers.
I don't know how you only.
Apologize for the whole thing.
Yeah, all of them. Apologize for all of them. Brian Christopherson coming up next. Kicking off hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. Joining us now is our friend Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7. BC, what's going on, man?
Oh, not much. Voice is a little weak. I've been yelling at officials all week, so bear with me a little bit, but I'm good.
BC, are you under the weather, or is it is it just how you woke up with the changing of the cooler temps momentarily?
No, it's mild. It's a mild head cold. I don't know, something. It's not anything. I don't want anyone to worry about me. I'm going to be all right.
Mr. Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. I get it, BC. I mean, you're like Lone Wolf McQuaid out here. Hey, B, I got a question, though, because we didn't talk about it, and I missed it with Bruns. What were the travel arrangements to C-Bus?
We flew out to Cincinnati.
Oh, that's no fun.
Yeah, that's what we had, kind of a roundabout trip.
All right.
Cincinnati, we didn't have any Skyline chili before anyone asked. The hour we got to Cincinnati, that would have been a very big mistake, I think.
We stayed across. So the kids say caddy corner. We stayed across the street from a little strip mall that had a Skyline chili in it, and all I could think to myself, even though I'm pro-economy, I was like, don't do it. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Don't go there. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. Nobody likes orange, brown sugar chili. Like, don't do it. So I'm glad. It's good to see you did not fall for the tourist trap.
No, we didn't have that. So it was like a 2-hour trip to Columbus and then 2 hours back to Cincinnati, then flew early Sunday. So that was it. So there was no Werther's Originals, none of that stuff. It was get in, get out. And you know what? I have to, like last week on this show, I was one of those people I would say was kind of like defeatist about that game going in. I was not looking forward to the trip. I didn't have a good feeling about it. And so, the way I look at things is you make these predictions. You think a game is going to go a certain way, or you're predicting, like, I think Ohio State's going to run away with it. You got to come back and say, that was nice stuff by Nebraska in a lot of ways. And so that was my takeaway. But I think both Brunts and I kind of felt like that because it was a trip, honestly, that I wasn't expecting it to be the type of game we got. But I'm glad the guys inside the walls were expecting that game. And, it brings some encouragement into this week and what can happen.
Well, Ravi, he turned tail. He was mad at your peer, and he had a chance to address it yesterday. And much like France and Switzerland, my man waved the white flag. He did not understand the pessimism going into Columbus, and he was very upset about it last week. Is that not correct, Ravi?
No, yeah, it is. And,
Schaefer scared him, though. He's like, and I couldn't believe Schaefer last week. And then we had Schaefer on. I was like, hey, Mike J., how we doing? But Schaefer was in rare form yesterday, though. He was hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't feel necessary to rub it in his face or anything.
He didn't want to get beat up. That's the thing.
He's not coming to Omaha. You know that. I think he said on some other programs or podcasts or something that, he thought that like Heinrich Harburg needed a ton of touches and stuff like that, and talking about getting real gimmicky and listen, I would have been okay if they had decided to pull out a few more tricks, but I think the ironic part about Nebraska playing the way they did and staying as close as they did, and obviously taking that lead in the fourth quarter, was it seemed pretty just line up and play. Like there wasn't a lot of, this wasn't Boise State against Oklahoma or anything. Like Nebraska just kind of lined up and played with them.
I didn't have as big a problem with. There were some people who were, I think, disappointed in the offense, and of course, there was a lot of talk immediately about the screen calls, and I understand pieces of it, but I would say that was pretty good Ohio State defense, and there's basically 2 or 3 plays in that game that were there to be made that Nebraska just didn't make, and Nebraska had more opportunities, but that's what all you can ask for in a game like that is you set yourself up like you get a play like the one to Banks in the third quarter where he's running free and you just don't connect there. And I understand it's a young quarterback evolving, and he knows as well as anybody on certain plays when it could have been something else. But, there were those plays that were right there in front of you. And so I thought there were some encouraging things even on offense, especially in that third quarter. I thought they were out formationing Ohio State a bit, and you saw that run game get going a bit. So you're hoping that can kind of carry forward into November, because I do think there were maybe some things found from that game that they can use. As Rule said, you got to carry it forward, and that's what I wrote right after the game. I thought it was an encouraging day. I understand we don't like to talk about moral victories around here, but now you got to stack on top of it, right? You got to use it into this week. And if you do that into November, then it was a very important day for the program. Now, if you go and you give it back on Saturday and don't play well against UCLA, then everybody who is like, well, a loss is a loss, they're kind of right when it's all said and done. So you got to make sure that game did mean something as it pushes you on to November.
BC, we could talk about like making progress without having it be a moral victory, though, right?
I was just going to say,
like
couching that thing,
like there's a difference.
It drives me up the wall, because BC, not to hop in here, young Ravi.
Yeah.
The thing that pisses me off the most about when people say, "Hey, I know there are more victories," they were the biggest babies going into this game. I don't know. I can't have BC. You know, I'm trying not to get fired up. I promised myself I was not going to choose violence this morning. But you know how I get, right? We talk out of both sides of our mouth. We were all in our fields, and Ohio State's going to be mad, and man, we're licking our wounds, and it was this, that, and the other. And we played tough, and there'll be the same people. Well, there are no moral victories. Like, dude, pick a lane and drive, right? Like the fickle back and forth, wishy-washy bull crap is the thing that drives me insane. Yes, morally it was uplifting. It boosted your spirits. Do you still want to win? Yeah, but let's not act like we don't feel better after that game psychologically than we did before. I don't know why we still couch it to like.
I mean, it's like Coach Rule said, you can be proud without being satisfied. Right? Proud of the effort.
He was clear about that.
Without being satisfied, right?
He was still mad.
Right. I mean, I thought Rule framed it really well after the game. I mean, that's all I'm saying is, you know, I think it was a good day for Husker football, and it's a builder. And now play like that next week. It's what he told those guys in the locker room right after. Let's carry this forward, be that team again. And if you are, I think it was a very important week for Nebraska football that we'll look back on if they can make November successful, because you have to have a pretty good culture to have had the week around here that was after Indiana with everything swirling in the wind and come out and play a game like that. So that's the part that sticks out to me. That's impressive. How those guys stuck together, how they believed, and they didn't really buy into talk that you're a trash football team or anything like that. They thought, oh, we can go up and get some things done against these guys. Let's go do it. And I think that first stand by the defense was just huge. And you're hoping it's a tipping point, I think, to the rest of the season, because they were put in a tight spot. The game had started in that way. It's like, oh, here we go.
I mean, that was awful.
No.
You couldn't have drawn it up any worse. Outside of Ohio State scoring on the short field, that would have been a real debacle. But you couldn't have
Nebraska's possession.
You couldn't have, and the bad punt.
Yeah.
For like two or 3 minutes, everybody who said duck for cover seemed like they were right. And then the defense said, no, you're not. No, we got control of this game in a lot of ways. And that was big. So we'll see if that can be sort of, I think last year, they had that stand against Illinois on the goal line. And that was big for that team in their growing process. And I feel like that series could ultimately be big for this team, too, because it kind of boosted them past the previous week. You saw guys like Jamari and MJ, I think, play the best football they've played at Nebraska. So that's got to make you feel good going into November, too, if those guys are playing at that level.
We're talking with Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7. BC, you put up a poll on your Twitter page about what you think or what fans think November will bring for Nebraska. You give them the option of 0 wins, 1 win, split 2-2, or they win 3 or 4. Where do you land?
I think they're going to win at least 2. I would probably have put 2-2. That would probably be my prediction. I think, though, Saturday is such a mood ring game. If
I remember those.
Yeah. I don't know, that dated reference. I don't think the kids are talking about
I remember those. Like, do they really?
All the 90s stuff is coming back again, BC. They'll be back any day now.
Yeah. So I have a lot of references like that. Like, start talking about like the Uncle Phil episode on Fresh Prince, that made me cry and all that stuff.
How doesn't he want me? How come he don't want me, man?
Yeah, that one was tough to watch. But I think this game, if Nebraska goes and plays well, gets that whole 6-win conversation wiped away, you go into the bye week, I think it can be a lot of fun. I think there'll be a good mood, actually, for the next couple of weeks within the fan base. It's like, okay, they checked a box. Now you're kind of free to go, after it. And I think this team last week showed when they play like that and they're free, they can play some pretty good football. And you heard Rule mention it Monday. I don't think they had that same freedom at Indiana. I felt like they were maybe chasing, like there was some of that, get that 6th win, get that win against a ranked team, all that stuff. You got to get it done. And so then it started to go sideways and they just couldn't get it back. But you could tell against Ohio State, it was a different mindset. It was like, no one believes that, we can do this against these guys, but we do. Let's just go play football like we know we can. So if they have that, I think they can still get to 8. But I guess I'd say winding way to say I'll pick 2 and 2 to finish.
BC, how shocked would you be if they went 4-0? Like, is that something you're even letting yourself entertain as a possibility?
I wouldn't be shocked, but I would be incredibly impressed. I mean, it's a tough schedule still. USC, I know, has had their issues, but they got talent all over the place. Iowa, I think, you always know you're going to be in for a 60-minute game there. Wisconsin's playing a lot better. So if they went 4-0, you'd have to say
that would actually be incredible. But
that's heck of a finish. So the fact that they played the way they did, though, against Ohio State, it changed the conversation where I think people are going to the stadium with some more juice this week. I think that's a big deal from what happened in Columbus, too. I think had it been a performance where you kind of get embarrassed again on national TV, obviously the home crowd would have wanted to pick them up and all that stuff, but it would have been sort of a slow walk into the stadium, kind of one of those feels, I think it's different because of the way they played out there, and I think this crowd will be amped up for this game and is going to make it tough on UCLA, and Nebraska's got to use that to its benefit and make this a place that neither UCLA nor Wisconsin can walk away and get a win. You got to protect your backyard, and there's 2 wins right there if you can do that.
BC, I tried to, because and I'm full disclosure, it's not like I saw this coming, but early on, remember I asked you, I said, hey, can we draw the distinction between Dylan's play and what we think about Coach Satterfield? This was almost a month ago. And now as we've kind of heard these last 2 or 3 weeks, it's, hey, Dylan needs to play a little bit better. We've missed some throws. We've got to do this. He says he has his comments yesterday about his offensive coordinator and needing to execute. Why do you think it's hard to watch what you see happen out on the field and separate from what you think is happening philosophically as an OC?
I mean, I always think, Damon, whenever one side of the ball doesn't have the numbers that people quite want, or they think they could be up, 10 spots in this particular stat or 15 spots in that, the coordinator always is going to have to take it on the chin. I mean, that's just sort of the way it is. So I think that's sort of the default reaction. I think there's things that Satterfield and those coaches would tell you. They put it on them that they could find that can help guys improve, that they can do better. I'll tell you what I was most impressed by, and this is maybe going away from your question. Dylan answered that thing about Satterfield. He wasn't asked about Satterfield. He did it unsolicited.
Yep.
He brought him up and said, I know Sat's taking a lot of heat. The plays are there. We got to execute better, basically. Everybody saw the quote. But that's the thing I think that needs to be noted. That's impressive to me about Dylan as a 19-year-old true freshman. He understands the environment around him, and he puts that on the players and takes a little heat off the guy who's getting all the commotion, That's a very mature thing to do. That hopefully people recognize. He was not asked specifically about the coach. He went out of his way to say something about his coach and defend him and stand tall for him. And hopefully that impresses people, because it impressed me. So Dylan knows there's a couple of plays he could have had back that he can do better, and some throws he can make better, I think. And so in a way, I think that was his way of saying that, you know, and so that was good.
BC, you know, I'm going back to some comments that Coach Rule made in the obviously the post-game presser, and then I think on Monday as well. And he's talking about how the hardest thing to do is set the culture when you haven't really won yet. And I guess I'm looking at this Satterfield situation, and I don't think anybody would argue, like, yeah, there's things Nebraska could do better offensively, whether that's an execution thing, whether it's a scheme and coaching thing. But do you think there's a chance that, and DB and I talked about this a little on Monday, but do you think there's a chance that part of the reason Coach Rule is so loyal to Coach Satterfield is because he says, hey, like, this is a guy that I know can help me get the culture right, and we can figure out the football? I mean, I think he literally said the football is going to get better, but you have to get the culture right first. Like, do you ever entertain that version of events? Because we talk about it with players a lot, like, hey, don't sacrifice good players for bad culture, but we don't really talk about it with coaches that much.
That's interesting.
Oh, I think that matters a lot. I think you want coaches that you feel like are always going to be on the same wavelength as you, setting up the sort of mindset that allows you to have the type of team that responds to Indiana the way this one did last week. And so you have to give credit there too. I mean, that is good coaching in the rooms to get your guys like back on the horse. There's all sorts of talk about this and that, but you're able to block it out pretty well. And definitely that matters. And I think that's a big part of it. And, you know, there again, I don't want to act like an apologist. I think there's things that have to improve on the offensive side of the ball too. And those guys know it. I've never been one to go directly after coaches' heads or anything like that, and I'm not going to start now. I think the culture piece that you're asking in that question is a big deal, and he's been around those coaches and knows how they establish rooms and keep guys going and all of that. And he also knows some of the challenges they're dealing with that we don't all see, you know, within certain things within the team that they have to work around that we don't know about. And he mentioned this last year at one point, like Rule had a quote about, you know, there's certain coaches I think are doing a really good job. This was last season, that people talk about all the time. And then, you know, he wasn't down talking any of his coaches, but there's other people get a lot of credit, but maybe they're coaching a position group that's more established or has guys who've been around 5 years. And of course they're going to look better. So I factor all of that in. I think the offense has plenty to prove in November, and I think they know they do. I feel like there's some staples they got out of that game against Ohio State that can be useful if they carry it forward, and so that's what I'm hoping to see Saturday. And if you do that and you are the type of team that wins like 3 of these last 4, it'll put a lot of this noise to bed in a hurry. So the opportunity's right in front of everybody to calm that down. But I did like that the leader, as far as players go on the offense, comes up and says what he did. I think that shows me good culture, too, as well as what they did in Columbus.
Hey, BC, before I let you go, do you think there's well, he's, for the time being or for however long it is, or maybe it's going into next year, there could be this collective thought of, well, they're ours, so let's just rally. Like, do you think we could ever cross over into that juncture, or do you just think every game until it produces the results we want will be some indictment of compare and contrast and kind of internal fighting?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I see all sides of it, Damon. I understand too why fans have been, you know, patient for a long time.
Yeah, and they're looking at the data, right? I mean, it's 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
like I understand the premise, right? Like, I'm cool with that part.
There's just so much passion and want to get over the hump in certain areas that have been frustrating, and I really do feel like Saturday, if they can go out and play good football and win that game at home. You know, every now and then you come into a game in Lincoln where things kind of go right, or there's a moment where it feels good and people recognize something happened here that can mean something to the rest of the program building and all that. I think Saturday is an important game in that way, because if you do lose it, it's going to be tough. I mean, it's going to get really tough around here for the couple weeks and into November. If you play well and win, you really, I think, a lot of people are going to be back and be like, okay, they got that 6th win. Now let's go. You know, I do think there's going to be a lot of that comes out of this fan base if they win. So your question's a good one. I don't know how people are going to react to, you know, the rest of November, to like some of these inside discussions we have about each coach and all that. I think there'll always be there a little bit in a fan base that cares as much as this one does and talks about Husker football as much as we do. We don't have as many distractions as other places. Bo Pelini always used to say that behind the scenes. He said he's coached at other big programs. The attention here, he said, was on the program was like different than it was even at LSU and Oklahoma, you know, like, because it was all about Husker football so much that everything was under the microscope. So that's something you always just got to deal with if you're a coach here. Is that's a good thing, and it can be a challenging thing, and it's all, but you got to accept it and work with it or around it or however you got to do it to succeed.
That's our guy, Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7. BC, we appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, B.
That's Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7. You know, the other thing that was different between Bo Pelini stops at Oklahoma and LSU and being at Nebraska, he wasn't the head coach there. I have a hard time believing Norman, Oklahoma has more distractions than Lincoln, Nebraska. You ever been to Norman?
Yeah.
Not a lot going on there.
I have.
Not a lot going on in Norman.
And my buddy Jay.
You know?
Yeah.
Not a lot happening in the metropolitan area of Norman, Oklahoma.
I was actually scared there for a sec.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are scared there. I'm just saying. That's DB. I'm Ravi with Kevin Sjuts coming up next. We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We're joined now by Kevin Sjuts, Sports Director, 1011 News in Lincoln. Kevin, what's going on, man?
Happy Halloween Eve, boys. Full disclosure, there is not a single piece of candy in our home.
Uh-oh.
Bless your heart.
Uh-oh.
No.
One of the good guys.
But this is the play.
Oh, boy.
Today is the day you go to Walmart, Hy-Vee, Dollar Tree. Everything's marked down. So we're going to go pick up the scraps at a discounted price.
Not a boy. You're always thinking. I like that. I saw a display yesterday at a grocery store we shall not mention that literally Kevin had. I didn't know that they made 5-pound bags. Did you know that they make 5-pound bags of candy?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, huh. And the display was huge. I'm like, I did not know they made 5 pounds is a lot of candy.
That you better have a lot of people coming through. I mean, if you don't, you're stuck with a lot of candy.
We don't have a lot of young people in the neighborhood.
We don't
unfortunately.
either. We don't either.
It's a fairly mature neighborhood. And I don't mean aptitude. I just mean like
age.
You
just call them old. It's fine.
You know. Do you have a lot of kids?
Well, we're the exact opposite. We've got kids all ages, high schoolers, middle schoolers, youngins. Our neighborhood is hopping on Halloween. And you know how, like, Lincoln specifically, and I know Omaha does too, just goes nuts for the 4th of July, right? It is like just a war zone and everyone's everywhere. I feel like Halloween is kind of starting to bleed into that territory.
Well, it's morphed into an adult holiday.
Yes, absolutely. And I even think from like a decoration standpoint, I mean, walking my dog every morning, I'm seeing more and more stuff like hanging from, you know, somebody's shutters or, you know, from the gutters. Like, there's stuff everywhere. It's like everybody's really digging Halloween these days, apparently.
Do you have anybody with the 12-foot tall skeletons in the yard in your neighborhood?
My neighbor has two.
Oh, absolutely. Not only a 12-foot tall skeleton, but one has like a black light that comes out its pelvis. So like at nighttime, it's kind of spooky. My dog just looks at it like, what in the world is that?
My neighbor's is like holding a dressed up bride. It's super weird.
It is weird.
It's like
the one in my neighborhood has like a proportional sized dog with it. So it's like
oh my goodness.
It's the skeleton and it's like a dog skeleton standing right next to it with a bone in its mouth. It's kind of funny.
I don't know if you guys have seen it. There is a photo of a house in Lincoln. and it has some tombstones, and they all represent Nebraska football coaches over the past 30 years that have been fired, and that's in our neighborhood. So we see that regularly. Here lies Bo is the text on one of them.
All right, trick or treat for volleyball on Friday, Kevin.
Oh man, if it's on the road, it might be a trick. I don't know how much of a treat it is to go up to Madison. And I don't know if you guys have ever been up to Madison around Halloween. It is
twice,
crazy.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's nuts. I think it's going to be a turned up atmosphere there at the field house, and they want to get Nebraska. So they've got to, they want to make their move up. It's that time of the season. And Wisconsin's just kind of lurking. They're not one of the top 3-4 teams in the country right now. So it's a big opportunity for the Badgers. Their young setter, she's really good. So Nebraska certainly has its work cut out for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, they still have Schmerich. They still have Robinson. I mean, I think they'll be just fine. That is still an explosive unit.
Yeah, they are. The thing is with Nebraska, though, how many new people are you really working into play in an environment like this?
Yeah.
So, a lot of the girls have been there, done that. Even Taylor Landfair, even though she's new to Nebraska, she's not new to the Big Ten. So playing in that venue and hearing the things you'll hear from that crowd, it's going to be old hat for her too.
We're talking with Kevin Sjuts from 1011 News in Lincoln. Kevin, let's stick on the trick or treat here. Trick or treat, the way Nebraska played against Ohio State.
That's a treat. I mean, they played great. I know fans just have to be encouraged. If you walk away from that discouraged, I mean, you gotta look yourself in the mirror there, especially considering what had happened the previous week. The defense was phenomenal. Jamari Butler, my goodness. There were a lot of scouts there, and I think he really put himself on the radar to play at the next level. Ty Robinson had a really good game. The back, I thought they tackled well. The guys on the back end played well. I guess the one fly in the ointment is, offensively, a lot of people aren't so satisfied with those horizontal passes. But overall, the fact that they went toe-to-toe with number 4 in the country on the road and was right there at the end, that's an encouraging sign, especially with the 4 games that are ahead. I think the performance in Columbus really kind of changed the tenor within the locker room and externally for what Nebraska's staring down here in the month of November.
So, Kevin, do you like eye roll, or you get it that some of the same folks that were worried and assuming blowout and thinking doom and gloom and that Ohio State was going to be the only team motivated are the same people saying that there are no moral victories?
Yeah, it's total eye roll territory there, DB. I mean, you can't think one thing and then all of a sudden flip at the end of it too. But I guess that's kind of the nature of it. It's just the manner in which Nebraska had the ball with less than 2 minutes to go and a chance to go win the game.
Yeah.
I think it's different if, Ohio State kind of takes the lead with 8 minutes to go and, there's a punt and then you don't get a stop. It's just the way that it played out. And I even posed the question, with Nebraska having the ball at the end, what quarterback do you want there at the end? And right now, you have to remember that Dylan Raiola is a freshman. I don't know that fans were too confident in Nebraska getting down the field and scoring in that moment just because of, 1, freshman quarterback, 2, an offense that still is lacking explosive plays, 3, you're on the road, 4, that's an extremely good defense you're going up against.
So let me ask you something, Kevin, because I found this, full disclosure, I'm super transparent. I told Ravi, I said, gosh, I hope Ohio State beats Penn State's head in. And he goes, why? So it can validate Nebraska's victory. And I tried to spin it, and I said, I don't know, a bunch of word salad. And I was at the end of the day, I was like, yeah, kind of, because I want Nebraska to be validated. But I know better, Kevin. Like, I've watched this year of college football. I know the transitive thing doesn't even exist. Do you think we are still watching how other teams play to validate the good and the bad of Nebraska?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's deep, too. Yes.
I mean, do you still peek at Illinois? I do.
I look at Colorado.
Yeah, but it's college football.
I know, right? That's the thing.
Look at the Indiana game for Nebraska. That's such an outlier compared to everything else.
Yep.
And teams are. Here's what I will say about this. Teams are allowed a clunker. It's because they're college age men. These are coaching staffs that sometimes don't always have the best game plan, and sometimes teams are just motivated by whatever. And it's not like you're playing on a neutral site mid-season and everybody has a ton of time to prepare for it. So teams are allowed a clunker, but I believe just our human nature, we don't accept that we just go ahead and say, no, we're not good because this happened, or we are really good because that happened. And I think that we kind of lose sight that, teams aren't always locked in. I mean, are we saying that, Bama's not very good because of the losses they've taken this year? No, I still think they're a pretty good team. And there's just a lack of forgiveness sometimes from the fans.
Kevin, we'll get you out of here on this. Out of the 4 games left, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, how many W's?
I'm going to, they have to win this Saturday. I think the temperature changes if Nebraska comes away with an L. Just get the 6-win thing done, and then hopefully you can breathe easier and really enjoy those final 3 games.
There we go. Kevin Sjuts, our friend from 1011 News in Lincoln. Appreciate it, Kevin.
Happy Halloween, boys.
Thanks, Kevin. Are you a Halloween guy?
Kind of. Not huge.
It's an adult holiday now.
Yeah. My wife really likes kind of doing the decorations and whatever for most holidays.
We have a sweet setup at the bottom as you come out of the west side of our neighborhood. There's, it's a little morbid, but again, it's Halloween. I mean, it has Jason, it has Freddy, and some witch, and they're kind of sitting around the table.
Yeah.
It's pretty legit.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, it can be fun. Go to the Halloween
You don't
parties
even
with
like
your
to
friends.
be scared, though, right? You're not a...
No, but I'm about you can get costumes and get some drinks and have fun with your friends. You don't have to be scared. I'm not trying to watch horror movies.
Even your Sunday booze.
Yeah.
On Halloween, right?
It's tomorrow's Thursday, so we'll be all right. Don't have to worry about waiting.
You do know what you can buy on the weekdays, don't you?
Don't have to worry about waiting until noon to have some Halloween cheer. That's DB. I'm Ravi. Lulla. We'll be back with more Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next. Wrapping up hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla, reminding you to get to unionomaha.com to get your tickets for Sunday's playoff match. It's 2:30 p.m. at Werner Park. Yeah, the playoffs.
Didn't I sound just like Mora?
You did.
Do you love my impersonations?
I think they're incredible.
Sometimes when I go into character, it's pretty good.
I think they're so good.
I mean, just ask
You
me.
should go into character to the Union Omaha match. I don't know what character that would be.
Soccer?
Yeah, what character would that be? Like Ronaldo? You look like the Ronaldo statue? Or
No, my favorite soccer player of all time is Pele.
Ronaldinho?
No. No.
Cristiano?
Mm-mm.
Make sure you get to Union Omaha.
No. I know you're going to try to do the whole brown skin thing because I said Pele, but it was the first great soccer player I was cognizant of.
Make sure you get to unionomaha.com to get your tickets.
I'm going to be Marty Cordero for Halloween.
Pele's great. I liked the first Ronaldo, the one that played for Brazil.
Yeah.
That was kind of in my...
I'm not a Brazil guy, even though I do like
Pele.
I do like Gabriela Sabatini, although is she Argentinian or Brazilian?
I'm not sure.
Different.
They are different.
I like Gabriela Sabatini, and I like Morena Baccarin, who I know is from Rio de Janeiro.
Argentina's over here, or Brazil's over here.
You're not my friend.
I'm just,
I have a question that Dookie Clint asked me, and I hate the question, full disclosure.
Yeah.
I think it is very low-hanging fruit. I think it's one that talking heads talk about because they want something to talk about, but because I like Dookie Clint, I'm going to entertain it.
What do you think of him as a runner?
It's not the question that Dookie Clint asked me.
What's the question?
Dookie Clint asked me a question, and he asked if the scores of Indiana and Ohio State were flipped, do fans and reporters flip out on this staff?
I asked that exact question yesterday.
I know.
To Shafe, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Shafe gave a much bigger answer.
Yeah.
I said to Dookie Clint, yes.
Yeah.
But not for the reason you think.
Well, you don't know what the reason I think is. So you don't know yet. it could be for the exact reason, I think.
How many times do I have to tell you today that I do not like you?
As many as it takes.
Okay. We still would have got, if we would have lost close to Indiana.
Yep. And gotten blown out by Ohio State.
Although I don't know if he's saying if we beat Indiana, but I assume it's close loss to Indiana blown out.
Yeah, I'm just flipping the results.
The fans would still say we're not there yet. We're not close enough.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have mattered.
I think people would have.
But my answer was yes. But Dookie Clint said something interesting though.
What's that?
He said, "I agree with your answer. So it's not that we lost. It's to who?" That's the part I'm struggling with.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's the timing.
Do you?
Yeah, because
I think you're all wet.
That thing wet. No,
What do you think of him as a runner?
If you don't knock it off, is this our Michael?
Well,
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's the timing, because if you go 56-7, whether it's Indiana or Ohio State, and then you go what was the final 21-17?
Yeah.
It looks like progress regardless of the opponent. You're both talking about top 10 opponent, whatever. You get talking about good teams.
Yeah.
I think if it goes 21-17 and then 56-7, it feels like backsliding, not progress.
Backsliding.
So I think
that's a great term.
So I think timing matters there as much as opponent.
Yeah.
That's just me.
This ought to be interesting.
Let's get to our friend.
Let's go to the phones.
One Michael Severe wants to talk about Nebraska football. What's up, Michael?
Hello, how are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
I just want to say, every time Damon does an imitation, somewhere Rich Little is rolling over in his grave and he's not even dead yet. So I want to say that first of all, because his impersonations have always been horrible, and I think he does it on purpose. I think on purpose he makes it bad, so we're like, oh, Damon's not even trying to do the impersonation. But I think that's just what he's doing. He's trying to make him sound bad. It's horrible. Anyway, yeah. And by the way, real quick, I'm in Albuquerque, and they're doing this big soccer thing, and Maradona's there, right? And
Diego!
He did an exhibition where he juggled for about 5 minutes, and it was, I don't want to be hyperbolic, but it was, I think, the greatest athletic thing I ever watched. It was incredible. 5 minutes straight juggling, behind his head, off his foot, just everything. It was incredible. And he was chubby, Diego, at the time, and he was incredible. So he's my favorite. I don't think I ever saw him play in an actual match, but watching him in front of me juggling was incredible.
I have a question for you, because you followed tennis for a long time, especially when you were younger. Did you ever confuse Rio de Janeiro with Buenos Aires?
No.
Okay.
Why?
Because how I like Gabriella Sabatini, right?
Oh, because she was pretty. That's why.
No, well,
it's the prettiness. She has that look you love. She's got that look you love.
Full disclosure, I've looked back. There have been ugly people I've been attracted to, so let's not act.
Well, you like the athletic look. You're into the athletic. That girl can go out and hoop, or she can go out and do this. You're into that look. That's cool. I appreciate it. Look, I dated a lot of lesbians growing up, so I understand. I got no problem with it whatsoever. And there's nothing wrong with that. All I'm saying is I know your look. I know what it looks like. Yeah. So, no, I've never confused those two places. I did once hear a good friend of mine say Argentina, and I've never let him forget it. But other than that, no, I don't think I ever confused those. Yeah. And I also think, Damon, that every time you say talking heads, I feel you're talking right at me. And I feel, stop it, okay? I didn't do anything. I do like 2 hours once a week. I do like 1 hour on TV, and that's it. So quit talking heading me. I'm tired of it. I can't deal with it.
Wait a minute, my big brother friend. I am not. So I've only thought of you in terms of what you've said once really in the last 2 weeks. What do you think I'm referring to?
Was it because I said that they were going to make 4 field goals last week? Is that what it is?
No, that was actually pretty good. But
it had. I'm guessing it has to do with Satterfield.
Correct.
Assuming.
Yes.
Okay. So let me tell you real quick about Satterfield, and this is really strange, and I've said this multiple times.
Okay.
I just don't know what it is about him, and I have to be honest with you. I listen to him do press conferences. I don't believe a word he says. And I've been doing this now. This is my 29th year in some sort of TV or radio or something. And there's just certain coaches that just, I don't know what it is. And since the moment, going back to South Carolina, I just don't get it, what there is about this guy. And I know people like him. Jay Moore talks about playing golf with him. I know you say good things about him. I don't know what it is. I just don't, for whatever reason, trust anything the man says and don't like anything about his offense and don't think he's good. Other than that, I'm sure he's a wonderful human being.
Ravi asked a fantastic question, and I'll let him ask it to you. But it's the question that you asked, BC, and kind of to Kevin about when you're building and you want people on your staff, it's the whole question about trading like bad coaching for the culture. That question. Ask that to apostrophe.
Yeah, Severe, do you think there's any value? Because we talk a lot about, this with Frost, where he sacrificed the culture of his team. And I think he's admitted to this. I don't know if it's publicly, but just putting it out there, I guess. He's admitted to sacrificing kind of the culture of his team to try and win right away with the players he recruited. Do you think that applies at all to coaches, where Coach Rule goes and he looks at Satterfield and he goes, hey, I know that maybe he's got some deficiencies in this area, but I know he can help me get the culture right, and at this point, that's worth it?
Oh, I believe in when you're hiring people, you've got to hire people you trust. It's the number one thing, even above the ability they have to do the job. I think you have to hire somebody you trust because one, they're going to do the work in terms of being a hard worker because you trust them. And the other thing is that that when things go wrong, you're going to have their back, they're going to have your back. So I completely understand that. The last thing you want to do is hire somebody like a Bob Diaco who you don't know, you have no relationship with them, and when things are going bad, everything goes bad. So I get that. My thing is let's just call it, they have more money than Rio de Janeiro's budget to spend on coaches. And I don't think they did a very good job of spending their money, especially when it came to the OC. I don't want to hear about culture. I don't want to hear about progress, a process today. I want to hear about results. I'm tired. This is 18 years of talking about the process and without having a whole lot of results. So like any fan, I don't believe we're getting the ROI back from the amount of time we're spending or money we're spending. The average Nebraska fan, I added this up over the last 20 years. The average Nebraska fan, if you're buying season tickets, you're in West Stadium, you're paying the donation, and you're going to one road game a year, you spend over $177,000 if you're buying one piece of merchandise every year. Think about that. What's your ROI? What have you gotten back? A little bit of joy occasionally, but mostly pain. It's not worth it to talk about culture and all that right now. I need results. I need wins. I need an offense that scores more than 20 points a game.
So wait a minute.
That's my thought.
We're putting our sibling relationship on the line here. Are you frowny pants over his presser last week?
No, I don't think it doesn't matter what. I don't care what he says. I don't know what it is about him, and it's from the beginning.
I'm talking about Coach Rule, the big picture.
Oh, no. I understand what he's saying. I respect Coach Rule. This goes back 2 weeks ago, actually, before the Indiana game. I talked about this just on Severe Reaction. This goes back to then. You can talk about process, and you can go through it, and I know it worked great for Nick Saban, and it worked great for Tom Osborne and everything else, but we're in an era now where too many coaches are coming in and winning in year one and getting results. I don't care how it gets there, and that's all I care about now. I don't have any problem with Coach Rule and what he says. I love listening to him. He reminds me a lot of, my dad died when I was 10. I wish I had somebody from 10 on to talk to me the way Coach Rule does. I probably would have done better in school and been a better human being than I became. But I'm just tired of overall us bringing up that when we're not talking about enough results. That's just me.
Okay. That's Michael Severe. Hot take Severe over here.
Hey, be safe.
Hey, I'm just sitting still now. That's all. I'm good.
All right, my guy.
I'm sorry about sorry about your dating history in high school. We'll be back.
Oh, the dating was great. It was just that I wasn't a very good person. I mean, I'll admit it. DB, you know the feeling.
Yeah, listen, who you talking to? I was the same dude.
We got that in common. We just weren't overall the best people we could have been. And I think I could have used some help in terms of people teaching me some stuff. But you know what? I loaned it. I'm 55 now. I'm good.
I meant more like the orientation of your high school girlfriends, but that's all right.
Oh, yeah. Hey, it was all right, dude. I could tell you some stories.
Wow. Maybe off air. We'll be back. Maybe. Kicking off hour number 3 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR in Lincoln. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage. We're joined now by Jesse Rogers of ESPN to talk a little baseball. Jesse, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
I'm good. As a diehard Dodgers fan, I think I'm okay because I said Dodgers in 6 anyway. But if you're me, Jesse, is there any concern that maybe the rest of the Yankees lineup could get it going?
Yeah, that maybe they woke up yesterday. I guess maybe a little bit, but the idea of the Yankees winning 3 more, including 2 on the road, this still seems far-fetched. I mean, only one team's ever done it, but I'd say at least they woke up a little bit. Look, that was the game to wake up, was the bullpen game. So,
right.
There's a lot of talk last night at the game which Flaherty's going to show up. But I think you'd say the same thing about Garrett Cole because he hasn't been as dominant throughout the year. Now, he was last start. Both were. Which Cole and which Flaherty's going to show up. They're not on extra rest. They're on fumes. They really, sort of aired it out last time out. So it just doesn't – you just don't know. I mean, it comes down to that starting pitching usually. And it's hard to imagine the Yankees winning 3 more. But we'll see.
Jesse, obviously the bullpen game was kind of a big story about Game 4. Do you agree with the Dodgers, philosophy or strategy to just preserve their best relievers in that Game 4 loss and just say, hey, like we'll get this done in 5?
Yeah, basically I do because they earn the right to do that. When you go up 3-0, you've earned the right to do what you need to do to make sure you close out the series. It sucks that, they're punting on a World Series game essentially, but that's the age we're in that, you're going to get a bullpen game by, each team most of the time and at least once in the series. You watch the playoffs, that's what it's been like for everyone. Detroit had it, Cleveland had it, go down the line and including the Dodgers. But when you go up 3-0, you can do what the heck you want as long as you don't lose 4 in a row, I guess, right? So I understand them punting when they got down and, after the Grand Slam, the game was, kind of over in the Dodgers' eyes in a lot of ways.
Jesse, let me ask you something. If the Dodgers want to get over the hump and close this thing out, or the Yankees want to at least make this competitive, which one do you think happens first? Judge gets it going, or Ohtani starts getting more quality ABs?
Well, no, I think the Yankees need Judge more than the Dodgers need Ohtani. I'm not sure if that's the question you asked, but the Yankees are just sort of, they're one-trick pony type stuff. Unless like Jazz Chisholm gets on the bases, they're just not that athletic. Stanton get thrown out. They need to bop. They need to slug. And if Judge gets going somehow, some huge night or like 3 games, then the Yankees have a shot. They're winning. The Dodgers are winning without Ohtani doing a lot, and he's hurting. He's in pain some. So, he gets a walk, he gets a hit here or there, but the Dodgers have already proven they can win without Freddie Freeman. They can win without Ohtani.
Clearly they can win without Muncy.
Right. In an individual moment or series, they can do that. They can't for the long haul, but the Yankees can't win much without Judge.
Jesse, have we talked enough about how impressive the Dodgers have been considering all of the injuries they've had to their starting pitching, and they're still a game away from winning a World Series?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I picked the Yankees in 7, so it looks like I'm going to be wrong. I think I picked the Dodgers to lose in the first round. So I'm with you. Very impressed. Very impressed. I'm very impressed by, it's a cliche, but by their camaraderie. I know every team at this point has it, but the Dodgers have a little LA in them, and I always sort of wondered if their cohesiveness and play for the next guy thing was as good as some of these other upstart teams, or even the Yankees, to be honest. I wasn't sure. Ohtani can be a little bit aloof in a way. Like, it's not as glued together from afar than I thought. But they're proving that they are. There's some glue guys in there. Kike Hernandez is a big-time glue guy. I think Betts and Freeman in their own way are. I don't think Ohtani necessarily is. We kind of know he's on an island by himself. But they have proven to be a tight team, tighter than I thought, and just as tight as anyone else in the playoffs, because you need to be there for the next guy if you're going to win 3 rounds and go deep into October. It takes a lot. It takes a lot out of you physically and mentally, so you've got to be there for each other, and the Dodgers have proven to do that.
Without the I feel like we're in the courtroom and somebody blurts something out and the judge says, jury, disregard what you just heard, even though it may have some validity. So I'm going to say, without the advantage of hindsight, who did you think going into this series needed success more, Boone or his counterpart in Dave Roberts?
I would probably say Boone, but it's close. And it basically, when you talk about a manager and success, it's bullpen moves. It's bullpen moves. And I say Boone because I think the Dodgers are deeper in the pen. I think Boone, and you're seeing it, he's relying on Luke Weaver in a big way. And we'll see what Luke Weaver has tonight. Mark Leiter Jr. was not even on the roster 7 days ago, and he's striking out Ohtani in key moments. I think he's thinner there in terms of the circle of trust. And so you saw Boone widely criticized for the Nestor Cortez move, and rightly so. So I think it was Boone because the decisions in the bullpen were going to be more important for him, and he made one big mistake, and I think he's been good since then.
Jesse, speaking of those decisions, it seems like a lot of those decisions are not, I don't want to say taken out of the manager's hands, but a lot of them are kind of predetermined either by the front office and analytics and those types of things. Like, do we put too much of that blame on the managers, or do you still think they have a more active role than maybe I'm giving them credit for?
No, they definitely still have an active role. They are certainly allowed to go by their gut in the moment. Now, I think that if every night one of these guys veered from the plan on every move,
we have a fantastic relationship because Zach's a little different.
Okay,
he's a super high level thinker, but he has some different mannerisms, like communicating. But he's quirky, so he's like my guy. So he and I have this thing. So today, Zach hits me with we talk about like boundaries and barriers, and he was the coach I was talking to when I told you about Aaron Rodgers and ayahuasca, and he just knows a lot about a lot. Like he's got a ton of depth. He doesn't strike as like a sports guy, but he's a really good coach. And he's great with kids, right? So that's why I really love him. So today, he says, "Good morning. I want to let you know first thing this morning that the most recent poll came out. As of today, you are my favorite black person. Congratulations."
What an honor.
Who says that? I love him. That's my guy, man.
That's what we're on today?
Yeah, that's what we're on today. Coach Maloney.
So Coach Rice didn't make the cut there this morning?
I'm calling Coach Rice now. He's out. Oh, he's great, man. He is fantastic. Funny. Yeah, but it's just, again, don't ever undersell getting along as a staff. It totally matters.
It's a little, I don't know if that's better or worse than me counting how many black friends I have on the air.
Yeah. You guys are pretty strange. Pretty strange.
I hung out with 2 of them in the same weekend.
Did you use a demonstrative?
What do you mean?
To describe a group of people?
No.
Of who? 2 of them?
Two of my black friends. I hung out with Cliff on Friday. You know what we did, ironically enough?
What? So do I know Cliff?
I don't know.
I don't know any black people named Cliff.
Then probably not.
Cliff.
High school, ironically enough.
Cliff went to Miller North?
High school, ironically enough.
Cliff went to Miller North?
Yeah.
Oh, shout out Cliff.
It was me, Cliff, and Jermaine.
Yeah.
Out here. Talking about island.
Now, did you really lump yourself in with Cliff and Jermaine?
Listen, at Miller North, we had to. There was
this early 2000s, right?
Yeah, there were not a lot of.
When did you guys leave together?
So Cliff was 04, me and Jermaine were 05.
Graduated.
Yeah.
So one day, at some point, we're gonna get Jake Galush on the show.
Oh yeah.
You know my affinity for Galusha. Right?
Yeah, he was a
Like,
monster.
Goat.
Yeah,
Love him.
he was a monster.
Like Superman crush.
Yeah,
I don't even get like that over guys significantly younger than me.
yeah. He
But
was,
that's when I first started getting into all my Cox football broadcasts.
Oh yeah, so
And he was an absolute menace. So I've talked about Jake's for 21 years.
yeah. No, he was incredible.
For 21 years.
So him and Cliff graduated together in 04.
Mhm.
And then Jermaine was 05 with me. But yeah, me and Cliff went and played some tennis. That's why I said
right on brand.
That's why I said it was ironic.
Is Cliff like TFO?
No, he's a good athlete though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that like the norm?
Well,
never mind.
I didn't want to make assumptions. I don't want to make assumptions, you know?
Shade. It's only Wednesday.
That's what we're on today.
Well,
no, Cliff's a good dude though.
Apparently your jokes are better than Coach Satterfield's.
And then me and Jermaine hung out on Saturday after the Creighton game.
Yeah, what'd you guys do?
We were just at a bar.
Yeah?
Yeah, just having a couple drinks.
Did you eat?
No, they don't have food at this bar.
Oh, it was one of those swank bars, huh?
No, it was the other way. Super dive bar.
Super divey?
Yeah.
They keep it to so do you get like so what do those super divey bars have that don't serve food? Do they have the ones where you like finger the peanuts and pretzels?
Some of them do. This one just keeps like chips in the corner. They just have like bags of chips that you buy like Costco.
No way.
I swear.
That kind of sounds like my kind of spot though.
It's yeah.
Is it dimly lit?
Oh yeah, super dimly lit.
Was Jermaine okay?
Yeah. Yeah. We were again,
he could just flash it. Well, wait, is he there yet? Yeah, he's all the way there yet.
Yeah, he's fully qualified.
Yeah. Does he carry?
I don't think when he's not he can't when he's drinking, so he doesn't.
Okay.
And I don't think when he's civilian mode he doesn't.
Yeah, I'd like to pick his brain.
Jermaine's a good dude.
Yeah, transition late.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Transition late, and I can always appreciate that. We're going to talk to a coach on Friday, Coach Mackey.
Yeah.
One of the things I think that's interesting to talk to him about is he transitioned late too.
Yeah. Out at Central there.
Yeah, for high school coaching. Now he's always been in the community and kids, but
which is kind of like Jermaine too. He's been involved with coaching kids for a long time.
Yeah, and then he just a job change.
Yeah, he's still coaching though.
So was he in education?
Yeah, he was a para, I think, at Miller North for a long time.
Okay.
And was coaching the whole time.
I think they're called, depends on the district. I think they're called EAs now.
Yeah, I don't know what they were called paras when I was a kid. Teachers assistants, I don't know, something.
Yeah, I think EA doesn't stand for sports like electronic arts. I think it's like
sports.
I think it's like educational assistants.
Probably. I don't know. He was in the building though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice.
Yeah, he's
hitting quota for the month.
No, me and Jermaine see each other a lot.
It's still only two, me and him. You gotta get over the threshold.
Cliff.
Yeah, but you hadn't been hanging out with Cliff.
I hang out with Cliff.
Do you?
Yeah, we go get cigars.
Oh, Cliff's a cigar smoker.
Me, Cliff, and Abe. You know Abe, I think.
Abe?
Yeah. Yeah, he worked at Creighton for a while.
Abe.
In ticketing. I don't know. You might not know Abe.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's a good guy.
Is he? Would I have given him a nickname? Like Honest Abe?
Probably. Everybody calls him Abe.
Like John Wilkes Booth?
Every once in a while I call him Brad, which is
not his name?
No, it is, but it throws people off.
So is it Bradley Abraham or Abraham Bradley?
It's Brad Abramson.
His middle name is Abram. Oh, so wait a minute. Last name is Abramson?
Yeah.
Oh, so not his middle. So you just shorten it to Abe?
Yeah, everybody does.
Do they just call you Lou?
Actually, my players just call me Coach Lou. Yeah.
No, it's not as funny if it actually happened.
Sorry, didn't mean to ruin it for you.
So the first 6 minutes of this show is about delivering jokes.
And apparently, apparently people think Coach Satterfield can't do that.
So I'm kind of mad about that. I told you this morning.
The fact that he made the joke or that people reacted the way they did.
So full disclosure, I told you when I woke up.
Yeah.
Every morning a man wakes up with decisions to make.
No, you're exactly right.
Did you make the decision to choose violence?
I did not choose violence.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, I blame it on Zoe.
She made you soft?
Yes. She yes, actually. She made me I'm not a Listerine guy.
Yeah.
I think Listerine, unless you want to sponsor me, I will Listerine my brains out, but not a Listerine guy.
What are the other options for
Scope, my man?
Scope? Okay.
scope, and there's
I know there's like different like kind of.
There's the one that I couldn't figure out that it was actually a pump. You just squeeze the bottle and the lid fills
yeah,
up.
You told me about that.
So I never went back to that. I should. It was fantastic. It was just a lot of work.
You just felt dumb because of the cap situation.
Oh yeah, real dumb.
Yeah,
real dumb.
My wife uses like an off-brand, like an organic.
Does it work?
I don't know. I mean, her breath doesn't smell.
Well, that's.
I don't know if it would.
It's a bonus.
So here's the thing: is I don't know if her breath would smell without it. Yeah. She's very good about oral hygiene.
Yeah, that's a big. Yeah.
But so I don't know. Like I didn't do a controlled study. Like, hey, we're gonna do a.
See, you always have to get fancy pants. So anyway,
I just scientific method. It's been around a while.
This list. Here we go. This Listerine has a pink hue to it.
Because it's for like kids, right?
I don't think so.
No.
It's like
it's just
fancy.
pink Listerine.
And so I get her toothbrush and mouthwash ready every morning because we are currently raising a child that as a 6-year-old takes a bath every morning. Every morning. She's not ever going to be like the stinky kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's just telling me that I need to use this mouthwash. Again, I'm not anti-Listerine. I'm just not pro. And it's pink. Has a pink tint to it.
Does it like change the flavor?
I don't know enough about Listerine.
Okay.
Tastes like normal Listerine to me. So it's very off-putting. But for her, I will, right? I feel like when I opened the garage and I was pulling out, it made me kind of soft.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think it was because it was Listerine or because it was pink?
Because it was Listerine. Okay. I'm cool with pink. I got some nice salmon dress shirts. I'm cool with pink.
I do too. I like a nice salmon dress shirt.
So when I was driving in, I was like, a man's got two choices.
Mm-hmm.
He can choose violence or not.
What did you choose this morning?
I'm gonna not. You're choosing violence.
It's just more fun.
Yeah, I was really mad at social media yesterday, but I let it ride.
So Shane, do you have that clip about?
What? Wait, already?
I just want to.
Already?
I want to give context. You went here. I was talking about.
No, I was
talking about my black friends.
Hey, remember the guy that used the word that you wanted to use on the radio yesterday?
T-Mac?
Yeah.
I didn't want to use it.
Yes, you did.
I just didn't know. I just didn't know if I could.
No, you said I want to use it. I want to say that so bad. I feel like I've heard that in the comedic sketch. So I asked T-Mac. I said, "Hey,
I didn't want to use it on air.
Should we green light him?"
I didn't want to use it on air.
I think it would be okay.
I think so too, but I'm not going to go there.
Well, I asked my non-minority friends, and they said go for it. I don't know if they want you to get in trouble,
I was like, you cannot trust white people on stuff like that.
So anyway, T-Mac, is this your friend's last name?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's my guy.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, Cliff's a good dude. Shane, do you have that clip?
Apparently, the few black people in Omaha know each other.
I'm not sure what clip you're calling for.
The one where he talks about...
Are we really going here early? There was so much sustenance yesterday. And I feel like you're choosing violence.
It's a long show.
I'm not choosing violence. I'm just telling you.
Yeah. I'm trying to see
I might. It depends on how my mood goes.
I'm trying to see if I can get you to choose violence.
All right. Well, how's the stream going? Well, see, Blake text.
We are live. We're live now on the stream.
How many people are in there? Are they being obtuse or are they cool?
They're okay so far.
Okay, so as long as they keep my mood fine, I'm fine.
Steve says whiskey works well for mouthwash too.
I don't drink anything brown.
I know, you just got to spit it out though. You're not drinking it.
No.
You're just gargling with it.
No?
No. I don't know if tequila would work.
Not as is it reposado? It's got a brown hue to it. So Blake sent me a message this morning. Blake kind of talked me off the ledge.
Okay.
He didn't know he was, but he did. So I'm not
Were
choosing
you 6
violence.
feet from the edge?
Is that a song?
Yeah, it's a Creed song.
And I'm 6 feet from the edge, and I'm thinking.
Nailed it.
Maybe 6 feet ain't so far down.
No, you're exactly right.
See?
All right, Shane. So what do we? Are you going to preface? Are you going to the? You're going to the actual press conference. So you're going to play the clip that I think you're going to play.
I would like to.
I'm going to punch you in the face.
Why?
Go ahead, Shane.
I'm not sure what clip it is.
Please appease my little buckethead friend over here. It is. Shane, do you know how you do that thing? Oh, they went to college together.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Was he at Dana?
Listen, man, why are you trying to put my guy on blast?
I'm just asking. Like, it was, it's a decent sized school.
So you know that thing that he sends in the group text where he has all the clips cut?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Take a gander. Do you want
4.
my glasses?
I think
Shane, it's clip 4.
I think it's 4. Satterfield.
Continuing to be able to run the ball with just common runs, traditional runs.
Number 3. Let's try 3.
When they think you can't run, they don't have to have a spy. That they can play man coverage and read his eyes and get underneath certain routes. So for him to be able to pull it down and run like you did, I think at least they have to account for it. It shows they have to account for him now.
Okay, we may not have it. Basically, someone asked, "Hey, did you know that, or did you expect him to be able to do that on that 38-yard run?" He goes, "I didn't even know he could move like that."
Yeah, he was joking.
Yeah, I thought pretty clearly. Pretty obvious. He's a dry guy.
100%.
Which I get that not everyone knows him the way you do, so they may not have the context for that.
Yeah, he's super dry.
But, the reaction to that comment on Twitter, I just couldn't even believe. And it was from some people that I don't totally dislike.
So do you know what I think it is?
Which makes it super disappointing.
So the key to good jokes is always what?
Delivery.
And?
Timing.
You might be my partner in a game show once.
I like comedy.
It's delivery and timing.
Yeah.
When your offense ranks in the 120s in some statistical categories,
timing is not great.
The timing is not great.
Yeah. And when you're that dry, the delivery is often not great either.
And his delivery, this is on the heels of, well, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What's a good national average?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Right? See, I can appreciate that because, again, I know how he talks.
Also,
I know how it is in conversation. I told you about the Bud Crawford thing, right?
Which one?
I don't know if I want to tell it, but he wasn't quite in tune with all Crawford's accomplishments.
Oh, Satterfield wasn't?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. If you're not a huge boxing guy,
like basically it.
Yeah.
And he's not from here, right?
Yeah, if you're not from here and so you have the connection that way, or if you're not a huge boxing guy.
So that let me know that there's only a couple things he pays attention to.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that I hear from then on is in context to my previous knowledge of what he enjoys and what he spends his time doing.
Here's where I have the issue, right?
Do you really have an issue, or is this more fake outrage? There's a lot of fake outrage.
No, I'm super annoyed. I'm I don't know if outrage. I'm annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Because we do this thing, and I do it too, so I'm not absolving myself.
Yeah.
But we do this thing.
We got fake fan outrage with Mookie Betts. Is this real outrage?
I probably do it with Dion some, where because I don't like him, I filter everything through that lens.
Through rage?
Through the lens of I think he's a D-bag. I don't.
Yep, another D. Blandino reference.
Yeah.
We're trending this week.
So if I I do it too. I'm not. I mean, that's how I feel about Dion. That's not. Yeah,
this show's gonna be off the chain.
It'll be fun.
I'm just telling you.
So I filter everything through the fact of I don't think he's a good guy. I don't like the way he operates. So he could do some stuff that doesn't really fall in that category, and I'm going to have a hard time receiving it the right way.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's what's happening with Satterfield here. Welcome back to Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. Of course, we're on KFOR in Lincoln for this third hour as well. It's time for Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook, the best place in Nebraska to place your sports bets. Get to warhorsecasino.com or download the Warhorse app to get a full list of house rules, promotions coming up. There's always cool stuff going on at both casinos in Omaha and Lincoln.
Why are you jumping at me?
Because you're jumping at me. Before we get to that, let's jump on the phone line here with TK. Let's talk about Matt Rule a little bit. TK, what's going on, man?
Good morning, fellas. How we doing?
What's up?
TK, does anybody call you Cooch?
I'm trying to think. I definitely have been called that, yes.
Yeah.
They promptly got a blocking dummy thrown at them.
Really? I know a lot of Kucheras that I just call Cooch. One was a really good hooper.
Well, you can say it in different manners to have different meanings,
I'm an adult, TK. I'm not a 12-year-old.
Well, this is also an adult who called me that.
Well,
I'm honestly surprised. I want to give you guys a standing ovation. You've stayed on air this whole time after what has been happening.
I don't know what you mean.
How about a round of
Man.
applause? Little Rihanna moment. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
I know Severe tried to get us shut down.
I blame Severe. That wasn't even on us.
I've lived with that for. I went through that for a stretch.
We'll just
though.
say it started in the 9 o'clock hour for sure.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
I'm sure our boss will check in with us later.
Do you guys think that those post game comments about maybe I should take a job that somebody's already been winning at might have been a shot at Ryan Day?
Listen, people read into it, but maybe.
There
was like 4 or 5 moments in there that I was like, huh.
Some coaches have different skill sets, TK.
Field.
But you know what though, TK? So I think that was across the board. And I'm having a side conversation with my man, the mayor. And this is kind of in conjunction with that. There's a lot of things that he says that are kind of slick, where he puts it out there. But believe me, when he says it to us, it's not the first time that he's said it. Right? So
for sure.
He's had the taking over a winning job conversation before. He's had if you've competed before, or the waking up on third base, trying to tell people you'd hit a triple. Like, he's pretty good with that. But the people that he's talking to, he's told it to them too. I think he wants them to know that he's well aware. Like, you're not pulling one over on him.
I think people need to understand the difference between holding people accountable and throwing them under the bus. It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
To an untrained ear, it may sound the same.
But Joel, he did. I'm by Joel. He's not wrong though. He's not wrong. But go ahead, TK. What's up?
For the UCLA, do you think Bieniemy is going to get them out of those stupid condensed sets, or are they going to come into Lincoln and?
I don't know. I would guess UCLA throws it 40 times. I mean, if I gave you 41 and a half pass attempts, you going over or under?
Over.
Yeah, I just don't know if I love the success from a one-dimensional team. I don't know who he's going to hand it to. I mean, they got some health issues.
They can't. They don't get anybody to hand the ball to, and then Garbers is going to throw a few interceptions, so they're going to have to play catch up.
Yeah, I just don't think there's going to be very many points. I think UCLA. So go back and watch UCLA and Penn State. That's the one. That's
that's the only one I haven't watched yet.
Go check it out. Penn State had a hard time running the ball, and Kodanicki is pretty creative. Penn State had a hard time running the ball. UCLA is capable of playing good defense. And until they turned it over against Indiana, they'd kind of held them in too. I don't think there's going to be very many points scored. I don't think whomever wins this game scores more than 24 points. I know, right? This has got 20. This has got 23, 14, 20, 26, 17 written all over it. It's just me.
TK, appreciate the call.
It's just me.
That's interesting. If I took the under,
they're not going to score a ton of points.
If I took the under on your points, it would be because I don't know if they're going to get that many plays off.
Yeah.
Like if it's a more controlled possession game, that would be the reason I take an under.
It's weird to have a low point total when I think UCLA is going to throw
chuck it around the yard that much.
But I do.
No, I get what you're saying. I do. Stylistically, I understand what you're saying. Want to get to, before we run out of time on our bet on it segment here, what do you think happens tonight in the Dodgers Yankees?
What?
You're just processing for a long time here. You're kind of
buffering.
Your apple circle's just spinning.
What do you think of him as a runner?
I think you might choke Shane when we get off.
I think he thinks he's onto something with his jokes.
Yeah.
I'm going to punch him right in the face, except you're like a 4-year-old, so I'd feel bad.
It's the same.
I smell bad.
It's the same line as it was the last two nights.
So like 144ish, 8ish.
I've got it at New York minus 150, which is what I had it at.
What's the total?
Oof. I'll look on the total. I don't have the total in front of me.
I don't have the total in front of me.
I
got to look at the total.
I'm a money line
but
guy.
I can't.
I've got it at 8.5.
Cole and Flaherty. I would probably think this is going to be pretty low scoring.
I would say 8.5 seems high.
Not really. Not how the series is gone.
5-4.
I kind of like the under. I would probably like gun to head.
I mean, it would have to be that dramatic, but sure.
I just saw some previews of the new season of Power, so I had.
You had violence on your mind?
Well, and it's political ad season, and everybody has a gun, so I just.
It's true. There's a lot of guns and political ads.
Dude, it's crazy.
It's a little weird.
I would probably take the Dodgers.
Plus 125?
Yeah, I just think Cole should be a little bit bigger fave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing the line.
Yeah, but I trust him more. I trust
Cole more.
I trust short rest Cole more than I do Flaherty, although Flaherty needs less of his good stuff than Cole does.
Do you trust Yankee bullpen versus Dodger bullpen?
I like the Dodgers bullpen.
Because that's, I think, what's going to end up mattering.
Yeah.
Here is not the.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice if the Yankees had to play from behind again, because I don't know if they have another last night in them.
Yeah. Because Cole's not going to go 7.
Last night we had an argument.
You and me didn't.
That should be the words.
I know, but it's not.
People want me to be mad at Morgan Wallen. I never was.
You big Morgan Wallen guy?
No.
Love him? Think he says some cool stuff?
What do you think of him as a runner?
God, I want to punch you so bad.
Who, me?
Yeah.
What'd I do?
It's just
what did I do?
I don't know.
Who, me? I'm still here being friendly.
No, that's not what you're doing.
I'm always friendly.
No, it's not.
Out here trying to protect your guy, Coach Rule.
I can listen. I admire that. I admire that.
Listen, I think we need to. We need to be a little bit more appreciative. I do want to. I'm going to try and.
Do you like Jacksonville State tonight?
Ooh.
It's at Liberty.
No, I think Liberty bounces back from their
Liberty.
bad loss.
I like Jacksonville State.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'm a Chadwell guy, so I'm going to.
Of course, you're a little biased.
I am.
Couple blind spots. What about Kennesaw? They got any bounce back in them?
They do not.
Yeah, they'll get drubbed.
That is
WKU.
I still don't know how that happened.
It's football.
I get that, but they're the worst team in FBS.
So do you remember the question I asked Kevin Sjuts about scoreboard watching, even though you know good and well the transit property is
100%. Yeah.
Were you vibing with what I told you about Ohio State and Penn State, me hoping that Penn State drubs them? Even though I know that it's going to be the risk of, well, see, it's the classic look-ahead game that Nebraska stuck up on them. I'm like, I'm telling you, what's been ailing Ohio State it was still ailing Ohio. I've been talking about this for way previous to Nebraska.
Yeah, with the disconnect between the defensive line and the defensive coaches,
right.
And yeah,
something's not right.
I do scoreboard watch for Nebraska's opponents though. Like I want Indiana to win out basically. So it may I get 56-7's never going to look good, but if they lose their last 3 games, you're like, ugh.
Are you surprised Wisconsin Iowa is only a field goal?
Not really. I don't really know what to do with that game.
Who do you feel like you know more about?
Well, until last week, I thought Wisconsin.
Well, Sullivan, I don't know. They may have some answers now.
Maybe
Iowa.
Yeah, I don't know.
And KJ's still a monster.
He is. He's the one guy I trust.
I would
most.
put him ahead of Gabriel in the Heisman voting.
KJ?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just don't have enough wins yet.
That's DB. I'm Ravi. Let's bet on it. Brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook. Wrapping up the show here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR in Lincoln. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We're joined now by Matt Stevens. He's the color analyst for UCLA Football. Matt, how are you this morning?
Doing pretty good. How you guys?
Good, Matty. Good. Hey, from one color analyst for the network to another, let me ask you, I want to start, we were just kind of speculating about coming out of a bye and the degree of physicality. If I set the passing attempts at 42.5 for Garbers coming into this one, does your gut tell you over or under?
Yeah, their forecast is rain, but I'd still say over. What UCLA's doing, their running game's not real effective right now. They just can't get it going. So instead of handing the ball off to the running backs,
they just throw it to Harden and Jones.
Yeah, they're just throwing it to him. So and short passes, it's been more effective. So that's UCLA right now. They're a team that has played a lot of really good opponents, and so they're just sort of finding their way. And they did against Rutgers on the road last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Matt, you mentioned the schedule. You look at the thing to start the year. LSU, Oregon, Penn State are going to be good. Probably didn't anticipate in week 2 that Indiana was going to turn into who they did. But 4 of the 5 losses on this season are to teams that are in the top 12, basically. How much does that matter when you're kind of evaluating how good this team is? And at some point, regardless of opponent, do the losses pile up to the point where it affects the team from like a mental standpoint?
Well, I'm going to say right now that Oregon and Indiana are going to be there in the end. They're going to be in the college football playoffs, and I think Oregon's probably the best team in the country. And then, you throw in Penn State, an LSU team that sort of finds a way to lose. So, I mean, yeah, that's tough. When you get on a losing streak, what's going to happen to the players? Are you going to lose them? Are they going to play for you anymore? That's what's been so impressive about Coach Foster. Against Rutgers, I could tell in pregame, these guys were ready to play. I mean, they were fired up. They had a good mindset. They executed the game plan. And that's hard to do when you're 1-5.
It's interesting because his personality is very measured and subdued. I signed in Carolina, so I follow running backs, and I know his personality a little bit, and I watched him at Big Ten Media Days. But then when I watch this team play, he seems like a big energy guy. Like, what are we missing when we look at kind of his delivery and how he comes across to how it's really going down behind the scenes?
Well, you're right. He's a player's coach, but he's a complete, total hard ass. He is really – yeah, he's tough on his players. I mean, he has expectations. He's very disciplined. He runs a tight ship. I mean, he does not want guys kidding around, and he is an honest guy. He's not honest guys who are screaming and yelling at him, but he wants every detail taken care of. And the other thing, too, is his coaches love him, and they do a great job of coaching. I mean, again, you're 1-5, you're going on the road to Rutgers, flying all the way across the country, and your coaches put out a great game plan, and they're responsible for the players, too. So he's a guy that I think is going to be very successful at UCLA given time.
We're talking with Matt Stevens, color analyst for UCLA. As you kind of look at the back half of UCLA's schedule, obviously started with that road game at Rutgers. It is sort of, I don't want to say polar opposite of the front end because there's some solid teams on the back end too, but appears much more manageable. Is that something they've talked about at all in terms of trying to keep guys locked in and keeping them sort of trusting the process?
When you go through a gauntlet like that, especially so many road games, and even now coming up, having to go to Lincoln, the key was not getting too injured. You're playing some real heavyweights in the Big Ten, and UCLA seems to have survived the injury bug where they have 5 offensive linemen, and they've had to piece guys from different positions and play other positions because they were just short. They didn't have good edge rushers. I mean, they lost a lot to the NFL, so they moved Femio Ladejo from middle linebacker to edge, and he's proven to be effective. But that was really the key. Just stay healthy during the gauntlet of games.
Interesting. With guys like Keanu Williams and Oladeju, and I just told one of our callers earlier, I said, I kind of like UCLA's physicality, especially up front against the run. I caution our listeners to go back and watch the Penn State game where you show these times where you're very stout up front. When you're watching this defense play, is it basically just trying to acquire depth so you can play harder longer? Or kind of how do you think this team is built and the trenches starting defensively?
It's all Jay Toia, the defensive tackle. I mean, and I know Nebraska has great defensive linemen, but, Jay Toia, I think is going to be a 2nd or 3rd round pick in the NFL. And he is the fixture. I mean, you can't move him in the middle.
It's a big good.
And that's really.
We've seen some good 93s.
Yeah, I mean he's a real beast, and so that allows Carson Schlesinger, the middle linebacker, who was a walk-on, to make double-digit tackles every game. No one's blocking Schlesinger because they can't get to him because of Toia, and then Femi Oladejo going to the edge is key. The other guy too is Kane Medrano. I mean, he's a second, third round draft pick. I mean, he can fly around on the field. He's probably like a 4 or 5 guy. Everybody thinks he's more like a DB, and he's small, but he's really 6'2", 230. So he's really good.
Matt, as you look at what UCLA needs to do offensively in order to win the game, like what kind of game does Garbers have to them be in this thing?
You just got to protect Garbers, give him a chance. I mean, he's a really good quarterback, and the stats, I mean, I can count, 3 interceptions that he threw against a team where he couldn't even step up in the pocket. If you give Garbers time, he can run the ball. He's effective in the pocket, moving around. He's got a real quick arm. He's very accurate, and he can drop it in there. I think the key to this game, though, is also getting deep passes to J. Michael Sturdivant, because Nebraska is pretty safety heavy. Those guys almost wear a neck roll. They're really good on run support. So you got to deepen them out, and that's going to be the key for UCLA is getting some deep threats. And the key is J. Michael Sturdivant.
Going from Cal to UCLA, I really like more on the back end. And would you call him kind of the leader on that back end for the Bruins?
Yeah, I mean he's one of the leaders, and also UCLA is real strong in the safety position. I mean they got 3 or 4 guys.
Physical for sure.
Yeah, very physical. And they got some lockdown corners. So, Jalen Davies and Kirkwood are 2 guys that they stick on an island. I mean, and these guys have to guard guys one-on-one the entire game, and that's the only way UCLA can play. Because last year they could get to the quarterback with 4. This year they got to manufacture 5 to get to the quarterback. So that's going to be man-on-man coverage somewhere in your secondary.
Matt, where do you think UCLA is vulnerable against Nebraska?
The big concern is, them not running the ball at all, having 4 yards rushing in the entire game. I mean, that's going to be a problem. I think UCLA has to deal with a very good defensive line. And right up the middle, I think Sam Yoon, he started center only a couple of games, but he's been the key for UCLA because they moved Carlin out to guard. He was the previous center. He's going to have a big ass trying to protect Garbers against that good D-line.
How will we know if it's rest versus rust on Saturday coming off the bye?
I'm sorry, rest versus rest?
Rest versus rust coming off the bye for the rhythm that you guys had at Rutgers.
UCLA, they're not going to be rusty. I mean, I think the week off was really good for them. You got to remember Eric Bieniemy, he came in this year. I mean, it's an entirely new coaching staff. They implemented new defenses, new offenses. I mean, this gives UCLA another chance just to put more plays in and get to know each other better. I mean, they started out so new that it was really an uphill climb, and I think this week off was a blessing for them. And plus, they're going to heal up. They're a little bit dinged, guys getting rolled up on and ankles and stuff like that. So I think Nebraska is going to face the best UCLA team this year.
Matt, what's an early indicator you're going to be looking for to see if that really is the best version of that UCLA team?
Protection. If Garbers can stand in the pocket and just get the ball off. I mean, Nebraska's going to have to contend against a short passing game, and that's one way to protect your quarterback is get the ball out in 2 seconds. So UCLA, again, they don't run, but they use quick throws to run the ball. And then if they can protect Garbers and UCLA not get behind the chains in 3rd and long situations, UCLA is very good when Garbers can stand up and read the defense.
Matt, I can't bury my tongue any further in my cheek. We love short, quick passing game to help set up the run as a fan base here. We love it.
Is Raiola healthy, by the way?
Yeah.
I noticed. I mean, he got hit at Ohio State. his right arm. He went to the sidelines. So
I think he feels pretty good, relatively speaking, especially getting the bye week a couple weeks ago. I think it gave him a chance. I think he feels a lot better than he did previously.
Yeah, UCLA has a veteran secondary. I mean, they got some safeties they transferred in and stuff like that. I mean, he's going to have to be careful with the football. Brian Addison, the free safety, he's really good. He's 6'5", the transfer from Oregon. He's probably playing more towards the line of scrimmage and run stopping more. So he's going to have to be careful with football.
That's
good stuff, Matt.
Matt Stevens, color analyst for UCLA. We appreciate your time as always, and enjoy the game.
Safe travels, Matt.
All right, thanks a lot. Look forward to the game, guys.
Thanks.
That's Matt Stevens from UCLA. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We're done for the day, and we will most likely be back tomorrow.